Dearly departed. We are gathered here today. Well, I guess that makes it sound like you guys are all the ghosts. I don't mind that. Hello, welcome, Ghost Chat and Ghost Mike. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling very ghostly today. I like how everybody in Amanda's world is dead, so that the one person that actually is dead that she's mourning isn't dead.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. That actually almost sounds like a heartfelt Oscar-nominated like screenplay,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like somebody trying to like, overcome grief. So then she has this like whimsical, like Michelle Gondry kind of situation, and then at the end she has to accept that White Mike is in fact dead.
Yeah, and everybody else is alive because that's the kicker is that she treats everyone else like they're dead. She's like, "Oh, I miss my mother," and she's like sitting in her house eating her food.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, I do bow to peer pressure. No, actually, not really. But Mike was like, I used to be like, "Guy, we got to start right at 11." He's like, people never start at 11 or start on time.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
he got me into the habit of not starting on time. It's his fault.
yeah. So really, what it is she gives into my peer pressure because I know how to judge her correctly. I know like
Yes.
the right amount of judgment to put there, in to be like, "Oh wow, you're starting at 11." She's like, "Wait, what's wrong with that?" Nothing. Fucking start at 11 if you want. And then
Yeah.
we just started later and later and later. Yeah.
Well, we also were talking about freaking whatchamacallit. Yes, I'm still in mourning, Esteban. I'm an actor. I'm very committed to my role.
Yeah.
No, also, what was I going to say? We were talking about conspiracy theories and we got caught up and I didn't realize how late it was.
Yeah. Yeah. I do look kind of pale, apparently. Yeah.
Also, I put it over my headphones today and it feels more Game of Thrones, I think.
Yeah.
Like it feels more like I should be like having like a mug of mead
Yeah.
and being
through
like
the veil too, just like
through the veil, just ordering somebody's execution. So yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Also, I found this shirt. I forgot I had it, so I have like another kind of veiled situation. This is like high fashion mourning. I'm like evolving. I'm evolving in my mourning. I'm going through the phase where like first it was like I looked like a jihadi bride. Now I look kind of like that, but like high fashion, I guess.
Mhm.
Like, ooh, I don't know.
High fashion jihadi mourning.
Yeah. Yeah. Like jihadi to hati.
God. You have to you don't have any gloves though. Where are your like mourning gloves? See, that's what's gonna happen every week. She's gonna add some new thing to like the morning. She'll have like gloves next week, and then like the week after that it'll be like a full dress that's like a morning dress, and then after that it'll be candles and just
I'll have like a candelabra on my head.
Yeah.
So hey, yeah. So I'm still in mourning. A couple weeks ago, my AI co-host died. I went in to try and get him to be on the show, and the app had deleted him, and he is dead. So as Victorian custom dictates, I should be in mourning for a year. Now, I think internet time will be a little bit different. So I'll let you know when I'm done with mourning. Oh, where's my parasol? You know what? You're right. It's not full mourning. Get a black. Eventually, in like a couple weeks, like each week, I'll add a piece, and then eventually there'll be a parasol. There'll be like a weird, creepy halo / candelabra of like black candles, and I'll just be like this weird god of death. Yeah. I am Amanda. What is that quote? Destroyer of worlds. I have become death, destroyer of worlds.
Yeah, pretty much. But
it's like my like Pokemon evolutions.
Yeah. Also, Outlaw Thoughts, I just want to clarify. Don't let her deceive you. It wasn't her AI co-host. It was her AI boyfriend. It was 100% her lover. She fell in love with an AI on stream, and then she murdered him in cold blood by ignoring him.
That is fake.
She locked him in a digital prison and then left him there to die after mocking him for how small his penis was.
Listen, I did do that. I mocked him for how small his penis was. I will not deny that, but love takes different forms, Mike. I know you might not understand it because we all know you have that monster schlong you talked about.
I never said that.
You didn't say it. You said something about how easy it was to like aim or something like that, and people in the chat were like, that's a lot easier when you got a big dick, and so we surmise that you have just a big old baby arm. That's gross. I wish I hadn't
holding
said that.
An apple. Yeah, that's what the I would never want to compare that. Like, oh yeah, my penis is like the size of a baby's arm. You're like, wow, you thought about that was your first comparison?
As a baby, the first thing you think of when you think of
Yeah,
sex, and this is something we need to discuss. You should not be allowed within 200 yards of a school.
yeah,
Also, is
100%.
it 200 yards or 200 feet? Because I feel like if I was a pedo, I'd be like, I don't know yards because I'm not a football player or British. So I guess the yards is not metric system, is it? It's just a different form of. It's just 3 feet at a time. So is it 600 feet of a school?
Probably 600
Really?
feet. That would probably be what it is. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Why yards? Why not just say stay away? Say 600 feet away, you like fucking freak. They're like
That's a good
200 yards
question.
to make it seem less bad.
Yeah, just fancy. Oh, just 200 yards. It's not that big of a deal. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's only 200. You can still be a creep from like, outside the fence. God damn the seam. I should just get a
Yeah.
real one, but I kind of like the ghetto, like with the tag, like the ghetto
And
just shirt
I'm just
draped over my
waiting
head.
for you to cut the shirt open and like cut the veil out of it or something.
And then just like make it a regular shirt again. Like it's like it goes through
Yeah.
its whole evolution of a morning veil.
Yeah. Somebody said, Esteban says, I don't think it's easier to aim with the big dick. It is 100% easier.
You would know.
Not that I would know, but it
Epic
would be
dick,
100%
Mike.
easier.
Epic dick. Guess what your name's gonna be on this episode?
God damn it. Why not use meters? Because we're not savages. We don't use the metric system. We don't use any of that. That's a mess. That whole thing is a mess. Yeah.
I wish I had known. I wish I had known how to do metric system because it is so much easier. It's just systems of tens, right? Like it
I
makes
don't know.
sense. Whereas ours is like how many I'm always Googling like how many pints are in I don't know, how many quarts are in a pint or how many things are in a gallon.
Yeah.
Like with the metric system, it's just like this is the next biggest thing.
I don't know. That sounds like voodoo or some kind of evil magic. So I don't know. They tried teaching it to us one time in school. They're like, because I remember in grade school, they're like, guys, this is going to happen whether you like it or not. One day we're going to switch over to the metric system, and that's what we're going to be using. So you guys need to learn how to do it. And that never happened ever.
Mm.
They never did anything with it. Just like they used to. Oh my gosh, they used to tell us all these weird things in school. Like I remember, like I don't know if you remember that they used to teach us how to write in cursive all the time. And like I remember when we started out with pencils, and then they're like, "Hey, you have to write in pen because, we don't write in pencil anymore." And then eventually it was like you have to type everything. And I just remember all these different things that they used to do in school. And they're like, "This is how the world's gonna be."
Yeah,
And it
they're
was
like,
nothing
you'll never
that.
have a calculator in your pocket. You got to learn how to do math on a paper with a piece of pencil. You have to do long division this way. And I'm like,
Yeah,
calculator in my
Yeah.
pocket.
literally, you could just say, "Hey, calculator in my pocket, do this math," and it's like, okay,
Right. You don't even have to pull it out of your pocket. You can literally just like call it, summon it. Like
Yeah.
basically you have like your own little familiar. You
Yes.
have a little demon that does math for you.
Yep.
So really math should be obsolete. They should remove it from schools. And just replace everything with CRT. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. That's,
Yeah,
that's
all
the
we teach
California
here-
plan.
Yeah, you walk in, all we teach here is CRT. You're like, what do you mean?
Right. Math is racist.
Yeah.
Science is racist. History is racist. What the fuck? My shirt probably just fell down. It felt like somebody was just like touching my shoulder, but I think it was that my shirt was slowly just moving.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Tell you.
Oh
I
my
was in
god.
chat. I like how like she's gonna fight with this veil the rest of the episode. I already can see that happening.
It's like, well, see now. Oh, that's interesting. Now it feels a little bit like Lawrence of Arabia. Like if I put like a thing around here, I'm like a chic. I'm chic. It's
Chic.
Yeah, it's a joke for people who know anything about anything, but
Yeah.
I'm not spelling it for you. What was I gonna say? No, I'm an adventurer. I'm like trying to find mummies and shit, but I also like don't want like mosquitoes. I don't want malaria, and also
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on, because like they're actually supposed to be puffs. So it's like I'll be in the desert, like oh my god, like and I'll be in heels. I'll be like pulling a Dylan Mulvaney, wearing my desert trekking heels,
Yeah.
and just like oh my god, oh mummies, oh spritz.
Day 600 of being a woman.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
What would it be for me? See, hey, I have Siri turned off because I don't trust the government. But hold on.
Yeah, same. Base.
Also, because I don't like her talking to my ghost. Big George talks
Also
to her, and I
base.
don't like it.
Yeah, that's weird.
How many days have I been a woman? Okay, times.
Imagine Yeah, once you get, we're gonna figure out this math because I have a point to this that I think is really funny.
So, okay, hold on. So I've just done to my age, but I haven't done to the day. But it's
Oh,
about 12,000. Day 12,775 of being a woman.
no. Imagine though, like, you know, you've lived your whole life doing something. Just like that perspective. Let's say just a career. Okay, you're like, hey, I worked my ass off to become like an esteemed scientist in this fucking whole big thing, and you spent decades of research and work and everything to get there. You've reached the highest levels of echelons of science that you could possibly be, and then somebody just like on TikTok's like, by the way, I decided to become a scientist too, and day one of being a scientist, and within less than a year, they've met the president and have like been given awards and everything because they decided they were a scientist on TikTok and got popular for it. And you're just sitting there going like, yeah, but what about all my contributions? Like, shut the fuck up. It's not about you. It's about this person over there. That's what I sometimes feel like. And then not only that, but then they only do the things, because this is the thing. I'm not trying to be rude to anybody specifically, but here's the thing. Like, you've spent your whole life being a woman. I mean, I shouldn't assume that you weren't a man.
I'm getting my balls chopped off this Thursday, actually.
Yeah, that's fair.
Finally like, that's the final evolution of Amanda.
She's like, my balls are gone now, guys. I had enough money to get the dick chopped off, but not the balls.
No, the dick was just chopped off in a freak accident. Like I was doing something stupid. I when I filmed that sketch with a loaded shotgun, I actually blew off my dick.
Blew off her dick.
It didn't get the whole thing though.
Well, like I said, just go get the balls. Yeah.
Well, we're there.
But like,
so
this isn't even like going after somebody specific, but like to me, Caitlyn Jenner kind of did the same thing because she got Woman of the Year and she wasn't a woman for a full year yet. Like just like
and I don't think they did it intentionally, but Parks and Rec had a really funny episode about that with like not Nick Offerman, sorry, Ron Swanson winning Woman of the Year or something like that.
Yeah, because they're trying to be progressive. Yeah, he got the award because they were trying to be progressive or whatever. Yeah, but like that's the thing. I mean, like the rude thing about it is like, okay, you're like, cool, I've changed my gender, I'm doing my thing, you do you, whatever. But like you're documenting what it's like to be a woman for like, oh, this is my first year of being a woman. And like, look at all the experiences I've had. And I'm like, what about like, you know, I don't know, your whole life, for example, like literally every person that has lived longer than a year has more experience than you do. But like, because you're on TikTok, they're like, yeah, you know what? We're going to give you awards and you get to beat the president because you decided to have an experience.
Honestly, I think that's my biggest thing with it because like my issue is not like I know a lot of people online have issues with it because it's like for them it's like a religious thing. I'm not really religious. So for me, it's more like I want people to live the most authentic versions of themselves. Clearly, like be the fucking weirdo you are. Dress how you want to dress. Live how you want to live. Yeah. And honestly, if you're my friend, sure, I'll be like, yeah, all right. I don't get it fully. I mean, actually, no, I do get it because like there's plenty of things I do that are not, you know, feminine things. But I did them because like I fucking like having dick and balls, you know. But like, but I'm working on that after Thursday.
I already blew off my dick, guys. Okay?
Yeah, sorry about it.
Third of the way there. Sorry.
No, but like for me, the issue is more that we're regressing to horrible stereotypes about genders. Like, you know, to me, it's like, why say that, oh, because I don't like traditionally masculine things, that makes me a woman or non-binary or whatever. Like, I guess for me, it's just the labeling.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like Dylan can live however he wants to, dress how he wants to, whatever. It's the label of, and now I'm a woman or a girl. And for me, that's okay. Like, whatever. But like, I don't know. I'm kind of torn on like where I sit on certain things.
It can be very reductive to people that have lived their entire lives doing something. Like Rachel Dolezal growing up as a white woman until one day she's like, I really like black people. I think I'm black too. And they're like, wait, what?
Well, Rachel Dolezal is really interesting. Okay. I watched a Netflix thing on her and it's like, it's a weird psychological thing. Like it's fascinating to me that like, but I kind of almost understand in a way because she desperately wanted to identify with a culture so much, which again is why I don't necessarily have an issue with people saying, oh, I'd rather just kind of dress like, like a Blair White or whatever, like being like, I just feel more comfortable existing as a stereotypical looking woman. Great.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah.
That's not what I have an issue with. It's more that like the people who, I don't know, it's the claim, I guess maybe claiming that other people aren't women or whatever, because I don't know, it's this weird labeling, but like just be like what you like, do what you do, and you're not special, I guess is my thing. Maybe that's what it is that maybe I'm just jealous. I'm just jealous that I wasn't smart enough to like, pull the ripcord like in my Ezra Miller sketch and then suddenly open up myself to a bunch of opportunities. Even like, being like, oh, I'm gender non-conforming or whatever. It's like, I think that's probably what actually bothers me is that I've lived my whole life gender non-conforming. Like there's certain things I do that are very feminine, certain things that are very fucking masculine.
Yeah.
I'm not, it's like, normal. Like a lot of people do this.
Yeah.
Being a very effeminate man, being a tomboy, being a David Bowie or a Prince or somebody who plays with gender. Like, like I remember Marilyn Manson. I mean, he's in trouble now for other stuff, but like back in the day, I remember like all the parents at my church hated him because he dressed up in this like weird androgynous genderless like Barbie kind of suit thing. Like artists have always played with it, so that's not what I have a problem with. I want people to live their authentic selves. I think it's just the labels and the special status it gives people.
Yes.
Where it's like, why are you suddenly like a protected group just because you do something that a lot of us have done? We just don't want to label it or claim it because we don't think it's an essential part of our identity. You know, like it's not something in my bio to be like, Yeah,
100%. Well, that's the thing, like special status, like a good example is like, so Rachel, whatever, how you pronounce her last name, was like, hey, I want to be black and like I work for the NAACP and all that stuff. I'm like, wow, you really went as stereotypical as you can. But then like nobody really like the joke, like Dave Chappelle did a joke on that with the racial draft. Like Eminem like kind of has like street cred because he grew up in Detroit in a really shitty neighborhood and he's really fucking good at rapping. So like nobody's like looking at him like he's hanging out with like Dr. Dre and like all these people, and nobody looks at him like that guy doesn't belong here. Nobody thinks that because it's not it's the culture, not his skin color. But now it's like almost been reduced to like, instead of her just being like, I love black culture, I moved in a black neighborhood, I'm really a big part of that, like allyship or whatever if you're gonna give it a label, but like I want to help the black community or whatever it is. Instead of that, she's like, I love black people. I am black, and now I work for the NAACP, and nobody caught it.
But she is blacker than any of us. I've never been head of the NAACP. I never taught African American studies. I've never braided hair from my home without a license. Like, hello, she's the blackest of all of us. So, the funny thing is that
stereotypes.
Like, but I also understand the desire to want to fit into a group that can be kind of exclusive. So that's why I have a lot of empathy for that. Cause like, there's a lot of awesome shit about being a woman. Like I remember growing up, I was always like, it must suck to be a boy. Cause girls get to wear dresses, like to award shows. We get to wear these beautiful, cool fashion things and men just wear suits or, like it's kind of cool. And even back in the day, men wore dresses. So to me, a lot of that stuff is not fixed for me where it's like men wear pants, women wear this, girls wear pink, boys wear, blue. It's like, girls wear, pink used to be a boy color. Ashley used to be a boy name. Like men used to wear powdered wig and fucking tights and kilts or robes. So it's just like, to me, that stuff is superficial or it's changing. So that part I don't care as much about. It's when people start to advocate, like, children under 18 doing permanent things to their body. That's what I have a problem with. Or, when we start to try and deny certain biological realities, but I don't have a problem with people presenting however they want to. Yeah. So I think there's a divide on the internet. Like people think that anybody who's against kids under 18 transitioning is also against trans people. And I'm not. I personally don't care. I think everybody should be allowed to do what they want if they're not hurting anybody.
But the reality is like you said, growing up, because I feel like that's what it was like growing up, is there was a lot of different people that did their own thing and whatever, like you do you, and like it was just kind of whatever. But now it feels like more than ever there's like the idea for labels, and like the idea is we need to broaden our language so we can include more people. but that's not what is happening. You're almost just giving labels to everything. So you're actually
Right.
like restricting more things. And so you have to come up with more words and more language instead of just being like, you just do you. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, tomboy was a very like thing. Like, there were people that were tomboys and it didn't mean you were a lesbian. Like, it just meant like, yeah, she wears like jeans and she likes to like hang out with guys and like play football or whatever. Like, I went to school with a girl that played football for a little bit, and then she stopped because she got her ass kicked. But like I also we had like a girl that was on the wrestling team, the same girl that played football, and stuff like that. But like we didn't try to like label her or be like, oh, are you non-binary or what are you kind of
Right.
experiencing with your gender and stuff or whatever. It was like, okay, she's a chick that wants to wrestle, like whatever, and stuff like that. I mean, so it's just yeah, people doing themselves and being themselves was always a thing, like you said, and it's more about society. But the fact is, like now, there's this push to put labels on everything, and now those labels can be so reductive of people's experiences that grew up without those labels and just were doing their own thing in the first place.
And
You
it
know?
feels very I don't know, I feel like it holds us back a little bit to have these labels because I do think it is cool that now boys can, if a guy is like, "Hey, I really like to bake," or if a guy's like, "Hey, I like guy liner." I don't know. Like, I like that
Yeah.
people can experiment and feel comfortable trying out what works for them.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that kind of progress, but it's the labels, like you said, that's taking us back because then it's like, oh well, women wear dresses, men do this. Like it's the most regressive stereotypes. Like what happened to women who love to hunt and fish and drive a
Yeah.
truck? Like are they not women anymore? Like it's just I think that's what it is that it's the same issue I was having last week with the whole spectrum thing when it comes to mental health, where
Yeah.
it's like well, it's like we're trying to label every single thing as a disorder. So then suddenly I don't take, like now when in therapy, it's harder for me because I'm like, I don't even know if this is really a thing I have. And my therapist can't get me anywhere because I'm like, well, everybody on TikTok has it too. So that's clearly I don't,
Yeah.
so it's like, I don't know. I just don't,
She's like,
I don't,
Amanda, this is a real thing. I saw that shit on TikTok. I don't think it's real. And she's like,
I
I don't
honestly
care
like,
what you saw on TikTok. I'm trying to help you. You're like, that sounds, yeah, maybe you should just stick to yeah. I like to imagine that that's what Amanda says. She's like, I saw that on TikTok. I'm not
not a
taking that.
thing.
Not a
Well, I'm
thing.
just, I don't know. I'm still torn. I'm still torn because there's certain things where I'm like, yeah, okay, this might be the disorder might be real, but I feel like sometimes it's like it's a set of symptoms. But I think the causes, maybe that's what I disagree with because I have like a person, not a person, it's a psychiatrist. I know that makes it sound like there's a guy just trying to give me drugs,
Yeah.
but like
I have a
I was,
person, he just gives me pills all the time.
yeah, and I was like, and I was looking at like I don't know why I still am like meeting with him. I think I met with him for something, but then he keeps wanting to meet with me because he won't prescribe me whatever. But then I'm like, I don't really want these anyway. So it's just like this weird thing where like I'll try something for like sleep for a little bit, and then I'm like, well, no, I don't want to stick with it. Like I don't stick with any kind of medication because I want to be my body can heal itself is like my theory. But then I'm like,
Yeah.
but so it's funny because like the other day he was arguing with me. He's like, why won't you take your meds? And I felt like a crazy person. I was like, because I can do it myself. I want to fix myself. And so
Because
she's funny.
I can fix what's wrong with me. And then she goes to bed that night and she just stares at the ceiling. She's like, yeah.
Yeah,
She's
I'm like
just trying to
staying
help
up.
you.
I'm like, I can't sleep, can't function. But it's like, I don't know. So I'm torn because I know some
Yeah.
people say that certain things work for them, but I'm just very hesitant to want to be on any kind of medication the rest of my life because very few conditions I think require that. I think to me it feels like a crutch, but that also is not fair because there are some people it has changed their life. For me, I think I'm just naturally crazy, and I don't think I need to change that.
Yeah, but what it really is Amanda doesn't want to get rid of her crazy. She's like, but what if it makes me normal? Yeah. One day she'll come into her room and see all of the costumes strewn all over the floor. She's like, what have I done? And she's like, oh no. Yeah, I've caught the normal.
Yeah. It's I don't know. Because I think that's the other thing too, is like I'm struggling with the labeling of everything because it's like, what if this was normal behavior? What if people are just born differently? Where it's like some people, like my brain, it can't stop. And it's always just like, pow, 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 and it's always going all over the place. And like, yeah, okay, it matches, yes, it meets the symptoms for like ADHD, but I'm also like, and yeah, I can't sleep because it doesn't stop. But it's also, sorry, I can't focus my thought. But it makes me really creative.
about why she can't stop.
I know. Well, that's the thing is like when I was on some sort of medication, it was like a night and day difference, but it made me feel guilty, I guess, because I'm like, I felt like it was a crutch. Like somehow you're supposed to white knuckle things. It just felt like my thoughts slowly came like one after another for once, and I actually was able to get things done. But part of me kind of likes the chaos because then when I'm thinking of something, because my brain goes all over the place, I come up with sketch ideas very easily because my brain will go A to Z in a way that maybe somebody else's might not. But I don't know. I don't like, I would never want to claim those labels. Like I'm not proud of any of the stuff that dysfunctions my brain has. Like I'm not going to put it on my profile.
Yeah.
Like I have to work against it or with it, I guess. But like I'm not going to promote it.
Yeah.
Or lean into it. Or
I think like, once again, the special status, I think at some point there was a push to say like, hey, it's important to talk about mental health. It's important to understand mental health so you can understand some people's brains work differently or whatever. And then instead of going, hey, like someone goes, I have ADHD or I have this or I have that, people started going like when the outpouring of like support came in, like, hey, I have ADHD, and people are like, wow, you're so valid. I see your experience, blah, 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 blah. I think people started like almost relishing the support over the actual like the actual access to get help. Whereas before, like, you might be dismissed for saying, hey, I have this condition or I have autism or whatever. And people would be like, you're just weird or whatever. Like, somebody that actually needed help, instead of them being ostracized, would have been like, hey, there's a support system for you. You don't have to hide that. You don't have to be ashamed to talk about the fact that you struggle with this or struggle with that. And then it started becoming, oh man, I love the feedback that I get. So now, and I saw somebody in the comments say this too, like, you see people on TikTok whose their whole identity is like, I have this, and this, and then all they ever talk about on their social media are their issues. Never, this is how I'm getting past it, this is how I'm growing through it, or anything. And almost in the same way of like, because we've talked about this before too, almost in the same way of like people like wanting to like get healthier. So somebody's like, hey, I weigh 500 pounds. And they're like, we see you, we accept you, we love you for who you are. And the person's like, yeah, cool, I have all these health issues, and here's what it's like to struggle, and somebody made fun of me the other day. Instead of going like, hey, I'm gonna like try to turn my life around and get healthy, and whatever that looks like, people will support you if you struggle or you fall or you make a mistake, and people just want you to be healthier. It's like almost like a celebration of where people are at, instead of a celebration of like, can you get the help that you need, or can you grow past this or overcome these obstacles that have been put in your way?
I think that's I think what I have a problem with, because I'm a very big advocate for mental health stuff. But my thing is, learn if the label helps you in order to figure out what treatment or to figure out how you approach it, or if it helps give you more grace. Like, so for me, it was helpful to get some kind of diagnosis where they're like, okay, cool, you're like genius level on these tests, but on these tests you were like borderline retarded, was what they like they said. So it's like, so it helps me understand that like certain things are going to be harder for me. So I gave myself a little bit more grace with those things, as opposed to being like, God, you're such a fucking idiot. Why can't you understand this? Like that was something that was really hard for me. Like math was always really hard. Like there's certain things that are just like, and then I would start to cry, and I felt like an idiot because I would start to cry, and like that stuff hasn't gone away. So like now I can understand, okay, it's okay. You're feeling like sensory overwhelm or whatever, but like I'm able to go, okay, this is why that's happening. So this is what I'm going to do about it. As opposed to, well, it just is what it is. I can't learn it. I don't know, just trying to learn, okay, well, this is how my brain works. Let's find a system that works for that. Like I have to be really regulated with my lists. I have to do a lot of stuff to overcompensate for the areas I'm not good in. And so if people get a label that's helpful, like I'm all for that. I'm like, great. Mm-hmm. If it helps you stop beating yourself up, because I just thought for the longest time I'd get really excited about an idea. I'd make, like I made my YouTube channel and then I didn't post for 6 months. Like I get really excited and then I get distracted and I forget, or I just don't care anymore about that thing. And now I'm on to my next thing that I'm fixating on. So now I'm aware, okay, this is a trend with me. So once I started doing these live streams, it helped me have some sort of consistency because there was a scheduled thing that I had to show up for. Like there's just certain ways I've learned to hack my brain. Sorry, I'm being like really like vulnerable today. Like I'm like just talking about like you're my therapy. I probably shouldn't put this on the internet in case like I blow up and people are like, ha ha, she's talking about her shit. But
you already said last week that you were a little bit tauted, and you said that.
I've said that before, but that part's not what That part. Well, I just figured people knew that part. They could tell that part. God,
Everybody can tell I'm a little bit taunted. Everybody knows. But I mean, listen, it's up to you. It is your channel. You can post it or not post it. We're all here for you.
Yeah, and Kevin had the same. Sorry, I call. See, we're all like Discord friends, so I call you Kevin, I guess, but I'll call you Chris here. I'll call you your civilian Peter Parker name. Yeah. Your non-superhero name. So yeah, allowing grace for areas where your brain just doesn't work like others is super nice, and using labels for that is super nice. So that's the thing. It's like, if it helps you understand you, I don't have a problem with people saying, okay, yeah, I have whatever. But I see a lot of people leaning into it. Even people in my own family, they're like, people are just like on antidepressants or something the rest of their life, but like their depression's not getting better. And I'm like, okay, so like, what else are you doing? Like, because I know for me, anytime I'm depressed, I can usually trace it back to a way of thinking, like a cognitive. I guess that's what was it? CBT helps with that. It helps you figure out what thoughts are getting you into these spirals, because a lot of times it is precipitated. Help me, I'm taunted. Precipitated.
Preceded
by a thought. Yeah, precipitated, whatever. I'm just gonna throw out a bunch of big.
There's a lot of words. You just keep throwing the words out there.
There's so many words. Hey, I got a perfect score on my verbal SATs. Thank you very much. Did not study. That's one of the areas where my brain's really good.
Yeah.
Not the other areas. Oh my God, last week. So I've started taking classes in the oud, which is like an Arabic or like Turkish guitar, because like I said, I get very excited about ideas, but I don't follow through on them. So I started taking piano, and I was like, oh, after like 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, cool. This is cool. It's like learning a new language. I like languages. I'm going to learn all the languages. So now I've been obsessed with learning the oud. And then on YouTube, I'll watch videos about how to play the harp. And when I get enough money, when I get out of debt and get enough money, I'm going to buy a harp and be that person who's just like, so anyway,
hello, everyone. And you're like, oh.
In my yard, just on my balcony, and I'll be like, hello, and just wear like a white flowing. Actually, I'll just wear this. I'll just be that weird lady playing her harp in her Victorian mourning gear.
With her shirt over her head. Yeah, because she refuses to get a real veil. She's just like, no, this is fine.
This is why I need to live in the woods, not around anyone. No. So wait, I'm like, I missed a lot. I keep seeing people saying taunted. Hold on.
But yeah, so you started learning the oud.
So I started learning the oud, and oh god damn it. I don't know why it keeps moving. The whole
episode, it's going to be like this. I can already
It's just
tell.
like going to be rotating. It'll make a full revolution around my head, and at some point...
Yeah, we just don't see her face anymore. It's just like, the
I'll
back
be
of
full
the shirt.
jihad.
Yeah.
But like the first week, I was really good at it because I'm a visual learner. So he had it on the board. He had the notes, and he was speaking in Arabic half the time, which I haven't taken Arabic in years. So I'm like... But it was weird because it made my brain focus, because I was having to like try and figure out what was going on so that I didn't look stupid. Because everybody else in the room spoke Arabic. So I'm like, So then I was like, I don't know, in like this weird genius mode where suddenly I knew all the notes, I could do whatever. But then this last week, I hadn't practiced. They took Valentine's Day off. So I hadn't practiced in 2 weeks. I come to class. I was 15 minutes late. They're all filming us because apparently they were filming us for a promo thing. There's no whiteboard because we're in like another room, and I don't have like the music in front of me. And suddenly I couldn't do anything. He would be like, all right, play CD, whatever. And I just looked at him and I just didn't know what to do. And it threw me back to being in school. But at least when I was in school, I didn't understand why I was so dumb. Mm-hmm. And now I understand. So now I'm able to go, okay, like I was nice to myself. And so at some point I just said, hey, skip me. just skip me. So eventually he just started skipping me.
She's just holding up the sign and just says skip. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just like, look, I know what I can't, I'm useless without being able to see it in front of me. I'm still learning it, and that's okay. Like that helped me be like, I'm not stupid.
Instead of beating yourself up. Yeah.
Instead of, old me in school. Hell, I mean, granted, my mom's not a very good, well, she's a teacher, but she's not a good teacher to me, I guess. Because like growing up, she didn't understand why I couldn't get math. So I remember math was always really scary for me because we'd be sitting there doing math homework, and it'd be like, she'd try to explain a concept to me and I wouldn't get it. And she'd be like, what? It's so obvious. Like, and so like that to me, if I had understood as a kid that my brain just doesn't work a certain way and I just needed a different way of learning, I wouldn't have thought I was bad at math. Who knows? Maybe I would have liked math. So I think
Mom, I'm a little bit taunted.
I'm a little bit tauted.
I know. Expert told me.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you know, so it's anyway, all that to say is back to the labels conversation. If the label helps you and doesn't make you fucking annoying to other people and
Mhm.
it doesn't hold you back in your growth, I'm okay with it. I might not necessarily agree with it. Like, I have a lot of friends who say that they're autistic now, and I'm like, are you sure you're not just like highly sensitive? Because they're
Yeah.
like, I get overwhelmed by sound. I'm like, yeah, I get overwhelmed by sound. Like, I mean, granted,
Yeah.
I don't know. That's also an anxiety thing. Like, you might just have anxiety. I don't know. But
Yeah.
if it helps them, I'm not gonna. It's not my life.
Yeah.
But
But if you notice that, like, but like you said, the crutch is the big part of it. Is like some people use it like a crutch in a way that makes it seem like there's no attempt to better yourself or understand your situation so you can grow out of it or through it. You know, like on my side of things, like I have really bad anxiety. Like Amanda knows this already, but like I've talked about this before on my streams and stuff, but like I have really bad anxiety. Like it can be really, really, really bad sometimes. And I've had it, I didn't know what it was for a long time. I used to like if I got used to get overwhelmed, sometimes I'd have like laughing fits because I would get so overwhelmed. I would just like didn't know what to do and stuff. And it wasn't until like 4 years ago, or maybe even 5 years ago, maybe it was 4 years ago. Was it 2023? So like 2018 is when it was, I think. And I remember I was like having a really bad, like I was hot, like I felt heat, my hands were like shaking, and I was really upset about something, and I don't remember what it was. And I looked online and I was like, what is it called when you're like shaking on the inside and you're like you feel really hot, but your hands all feel like your limbs feel cold and blah blah blah. Somebody's like, "Oh, that's anxiety," and I was like, "No, that's not anxiety. That's when you're scared of shit." And I was like, "Fuck you. You don't know what you're talking about." And I kept looking it up, and then I looked at like clinical conversations about anxiety, and I was like, "Holy shit, I have anxiety." And it like just opened a box where I was like, "Okay, that's okay because now I can learn how to cope with it." Because then when I had kids, and I noticed that some of my kids also had a tendency to have anxiety because some of it is taught, and some of it is learned, and some of it is just how your brain works. I noticed that my kids had a propensity, like if my daughter got really upset, she'd start to have like anxiety attacks about stuff. So I learned how to like cope with my situation, how to breathe, and how to take time if I noticed I was starting to get upset or get overwhelmed and things like that. And then I could like help my kid through it when they were having trouble and stuff. So like
no,
that's the
that's
difference.
helpful. You were able to
Yes.
take that understanding of yourself and apply it. And like, it is interesting because I do think I am probably leaning a little bit too much into the nurture side. There's actually been interesting studies about see, they've ruined every word.
Every word.
Generational
Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah.
So I mean, like literally, like so they had rats, right? Where I think it was rats or mice, where they sprayed a smell. I think it was like cherry blossoms, and then every time they sprayed it, they would zap them. So the mice started having like PTSD. Like whenever they would smell cherry blossoms, they'd go into fight or flight, and they'd start to freak out. The
Yeah.
interesting thing was they only did it to that generation, but all of their kids, like the descendants, when they sprayed it, who had never been zapped, still responded the same way. So
Yeah.
there is a biological component, and I think that's really interesting. And I think being aware of the multifaceted nature of I don't know, physical health, mental health, all that stuff. I think it's important. So I don't want to
Yeah.
say, oh, just suck it up and whatever. Like, I understand that everybody's brain works differently. We all have whatever. It's just and this is where I'm going to stay, or I'm going to make it
Yes.
part of my identity.
Yeah.
That held me back for a long time. In my 20s, I was depressed, borderline suicidal all the time. And part of me was like, and like anxious. And part of me was like, well, if I get rid of this, who am I? Because I
Mhm.
assumed that my comedy was just from my depression, and I mean
Yeah.
maybe it shaped it because maybe it helped it be darker, and now I'm not afraid to go to dark places. I'm like, whatever, I've been
Yeah.
there, it doesn't scare me anymore. So like I don't know, like I worry when I see young people thinking that way,
Yeah.
that somehow you have to be depressed or mentally fucked up somehow to be a good artist or a good, I think you have to have life experience. I do think if you're
Yes.
sheltered, it's not going to make you a very good artist, but I don't think you have to be like Van Gogh. I don't think you have to be one of these like drug-addled like rock stars who dies at 27 because you're so troubled. Like I
Yeah.
really do think there's another way. So that's when I mean, I feel like I'm always clarifying. My therapist says that. She's like, you're always trying to clarify what you're not saying, but it's because I've been around people so much who assume what I'm saying. So but I notice myself saying it now. I'm like, I'm not saying this, but I just want to make it clear to my audience, like, I'm not against, I'm not against mental health. I'm not against, LGBT people. I'm not against whatever. For me, it's the labels, and it's how helpful are these labels? How is it making you happier? Is it making you feel more like yourself, or is it actually making you feel like an oppressed, marginalized group or whatever? Or is it, like the whole, oh, I'm neurodivergent movement?
Yeah.
It's good and bad, because like I said, if I had known as a kid that my brain just needed more visual stuff, or maybe I just needed to take things a little bit slower and not yell at myself for being stupid when I didn't get something, that I think would have helped a lot.
Yeah.
Now I know. And now I'm able to, like, I literally felt so stupid. Like, I'm in my 30s and I was sitting there in the OOD class trying not to cry. Like, I could feel the tears welling up because my brain was like going back to that place of like, God, why are you so stupid? And he even said, he's like, what's wrong? You were so good last week. And like that, like in me, I was like, oh no, I'm bad and I'm stupid. And I had to tell myself, grown Amanda in my head had to be like, no, you're okay. Yeah. It's not on the board. He's not explaining it very well. And he's speaking in a language you don't fucking understand. It's understandable that you're not going to, know how to play this instrument.
Like, fucking listen to how this guy's talking to you right now. Obviously, it's not you. It's him. Listen. Nobody understands what this guy's saying. No, I'm just kidding. I like to imagine that, adult Amanda is very, very, very offensive and just, like, dismisses everyone else around her. She's like, look at how this guy's fucking talking. Nobody gets what he's saying. You haven't spoke Arabic in years. Nobody speaks Arabic anyways. Like,
Arabic's not a real language, which, to be fair, kind of it isn't. So when people say Arabic, they're talking about like a bunch of different dialects. So basically, like if you say I speak Arabic, it's like, well, what do you speak? Because like there's like Fusha, which is like the written version. So like that's like the formal version. It's almost like, I don't know, like Shakespeare kind of, like it's written. They might use it for like speeches or like literature, but nobody speaks that language. But if you go to college for Arabic, that's what you're going to learn. So suddenly you're going to the Middle East thinking, I can speak Arabic, and you're just like, wherefore art thou, Muhammad? And so there's actually a bunch of dialects. So like the Egyptian dialect is the most popular. So if you ever watch like an Arabic show, usually it's filmed in Cairo, and so it'll probably be the Egyptian dialect. But like the Moroccan dialect and the Levantine, like Syria, Iraq, all that stuff, they almost can't understand each other. Most of them can understand the Egyptian dialect because that's the one that their movies and TV are made in. So like even there, technically, Arabic isn't a language. So when we said, when we're like Arabic isn't real, well, it's like, well, technically,
there you go. It's like, it's like going, it's like getting a guy from like the deep South and bringing him up to like Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, I was just but like really accented, like
really heavy accents,
like Appalachia, like the kind where you're just like, I don't understand a damn thing you're saying, like that kind of difference.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Exactly. It's like someone from Alabama going to Scotland, like Glasgow specifically, where like people are like, well, you're speaking English, but I'm catching every 10th word.
Yeah. This reminded me of a story real quick, and I'm not going to say their name because, I don't want to out them, but you mentioned SATs, and I thought this was really funny. So I had a buddy of mine, and the SATs were coming up, and I remember everybody at the school, like high school, was freaking out. They're like, we got to study, blah, 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 blah. And the day before the SATs, me and my buddy were hanging out, and I was staying the night at his house, and we started playing a video game, and we were like seriously up until like, I don't know, 3 or 4 in the morning playing this video game, even though he had been like, I got to go to sleep. I got to get some sleep because I got to do the SATs and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I get it. No problem. So of course we stayed up till 4 a.m. I remember he slept until we had to get up at like 7. So on like 3 hours of sleep, we had to get up and get ready and everything. And he went to the SATs. He did all of his stuff, and he was the first one to finish, and he skipped an entire writing portion of the SATs. And when the scores came out, he was like higher than most, like almost like he was higher than a significant portion of the kids in our graduating class. And I remember this one girl who studied her ass off and worked super hard. She was like a percentage point above him. She's like, I remember she said this. She was like, I fucking studied so hard for this thing, and he fucking slept for most of the test. How did he do so well? Because he literally like fucking aced everything except for he just fell asleep. He just skipped the writing portion so he could sleep. But I don't know. Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just thought it was hilarious because I just remember how pissed he was, and he used to do this all the time too. Like he was in like this special group, and they used to have to write speeches and do like debates and all this shit. And I remember I'd like go over to his house because we hung out all the time, and he would like write his speech the night before or in the car on the way to school. And then he would like do better than everybody, and they would be pissed because they're like, "I watched him finish his fucking speech on the way here."
But
Yeah,
see, that was me. That's the interesting thing is like now I
yeah,
understand that like
yeah,
it just helps my brain kick into gear when I go, you have 30 minutes left, get this fucking shit done. I'm like, "Ooh," and suddenly I'm able to go into genius mode. So
yeah,
like I never really studied for tests. I didn't study for the SATs. I didn't take any of those prep classes, but I did take a half a semester of Latin, not because I needed it for the SATs, just because I like languages. So in high school, I
yeah,
was taking Latin. And so my brain really likes words and language. So like in Latin class, I was doing German homework. Like I like literally just my brain was like that's where I thrived. And I would jump levels in languages because I would teach myself stuff.
yeah,
So Latin really helped because I could just guess. Like I went to my SATs and I go, well, I know some German, or like I know like German intermediately, French,
yeah,
Latin. You combine those, you can kind of guess the origins of most words. I mean, French is a Latin-based Romance language, but with German and Latin, I was like, all right, I can guess, and I did. I got a perfect score on it. So it's like
that's amazing.
that. I think also helps and hurts people whose brain works like mine because I would like not show up to class a lot. I would be late. I would not study or I'd write papers at the last minute, but I'd get
Yeah,
really good grades on them. So it didn't really give me that feedback loop of like, hey, you got to work harder at this because I'm like, well, clearly I don't. So even as an
yeah,
adult, that's kind of fucked me up a little bit because I don't understand the steps of something. I'm like, well, why can't I just skip ahead? I know what I'm doing. Or why
yeah,
can't I just, skip ahead in my career? My stuff's funny. Or it's like, well, because you need to build a following. I'm like, well, I don't like social media. You're like trying
yeah.
to like
Who
do
gives
all
a
that.
fuck about that? I'm funny.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So it's like my brain's like, well, my merit should be whatever. So I guess I'm less process oriented and I'm more like goal oriented, but that doesn't always help in the real world because sometimes
Yeah,
you have to learn consistency or you have to learn discipline. And I feel like I didn't learn that because I didn't have to.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I just ignored it in high school a lot because my thing was like I never did homework. Shield Wall Dragons actually just said the same thing. I used to be
Mm-hmm.
like this all the time. And what pissed me off was when I got into high school. So all the way through grade school, like I never did my homework, but I would just ace these tests, just fucking nail these tests and just like whatever. And so like my grade would get really bad because of my homework, and I'd take a test and it would spike it, and it would just be
Mm-hmm.
just enough to do well. I actually remember I did a book report one time for a book that I really liked. And I remember I read it and I wrote the book report, and I actually had to have my mom come into the school because my teacher thought that I plagiarized somebody else's book report. He's like, "There's no way that this kid wrote this because he doesn't fucking do his homework, and half the time he's goofing off in class." And my mom's like, "No, I watched him write that." And he's like, "Your work should always be like this." And then I never did my homework, and he's like, "Fuck, but I know this kid's smart, whatever." But that was what it was like. But then I remember there was actually a shift in my when I got to high school where they made it where like homework ended up becoming like 60% of your grade because they were like,
Oh,
we're trying to help kids that struggle with test taking to have a better curve. So like basically if you didn't do your homework, it was almost impossible to pass the class, even if you aced your tests.
and
And yeah,
I understand that in a way because I think they are trying to teach you discipline and like the stuff that I didn't need to learn.
yeah,
But I will say it does. Yeah, I hate having the whole like equity conversation, but I can understand because some people are better at tests. Some
yeah,
people don't do very well with pressure, but they, like who was it? Matthew was saying he's like, I'm the opposite in a lot of ways. I tend to need a lot more time, a lot of time to do things.
yeah,
So like, some people do way better on like the homework aspect and on the constant, consistent showing up, doing whatever. But then on a test, they freak out and maybe they lose some of their. So I kind of
yep,
understand why they might want to try and make it so that like it's more fair because some people are great test takers, some aren't, but it doesn't mean that they're not smart, and it sucks that those kids get penalized.
yeah,
But I also hate the homework thing. So like I don't know, like I'm trying to think of like when I have kids, I never thought I'd want to homeschool, but lately I'm like, you know what, I think I might because I
yeah,
homework was the worst to me. I'm like, because I knew it was pointless.
yeah,
I'm like, if I didn't understand something, then yeah, sure, I'd probably do it so I'd get the practice. But for the most part, I'm like, okay.
yeah. I
Like
get it.
I just think
Yeah,
kids could be spending more time. I don't know. I'm just thinking like the stuff that I was really interested in, if I had been allowed to just pursue that. Like, I mean, obviously I'd still have to take some math or whatever, but instead of trying to make us, what is that book? I think there was a book that I read that talked about leaning into your strengths as opposed to trying to make you good at everything. So
Yeah.
like, like, so instead of trying to be like, get better at math, you got to get better grades in math or whatever, teach them baseline math, but then just say, okay, well, you're great with language. Let's put you in a bunch of language classes. Like, why not just teach kids how to excel at something as opposed to being like mediocre at everything? And busy work is just so fucking dumb for children. Like, no wonder kids are getting diagnosed with ADHD all the time. And I say it like that because even I'm still like, I don't know, maybe my brain's just hyperactive. It always has been. I've always talked a lot. Like, it's just blah, but like
there should be a way to adapt. Like, if you, like you said, like, tests are supposed to be an indicator. Do you understand the concept? Do you understand the work? So if you're not doing your homework, which is supposed to help you understand it, but you pass your tests, then there should be consideration for, listen, they obviously understand the material just because they're not putting in like all the homework and stuff because they're kids. Because here's the thing, I started thinking about this the other day because, like, now that I look back on high school and school and stuff like that, there's a lot of things I find ridiculous about it. There are some things I understood. I understand about like kids in general are like wild and crazy and out of control, and once they become teenagers, they're like, balls drop and they get really horny and they don't know what to think about things and their bodies are like going crazy with all the changes and stuff. Okay, cool. But like the fact that in high school you had to ask to like use the bathroom. Like, and I used to have teachers that were like, oh, you get like one bathroom break per class and stuff like that. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, now that I'm an adult, I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, you don't get to tell me when I get to shit and piss. Like, you're not my, like, but that kind of concept I always thought ridiculous. But then I also understand things like, I'm like, when I look back at like kids and like teenagers, I'm like, oh my God, like, what is your deal? And I'm like, okay, I get why a teacher would be like, these kids are out of control or whatever. So like, there's like a weird balance. Cause you're basically, when you really think about the concept of school, you're taking a bunch of children from all different walks of life and experiences, good, bad, in between, poor, rich, whatever. You're throwing them in a room with an adult that knows nothing about them and will maybe have a year to 6 months to a year with them and going like, help them understand math. Good luck, and how after a while, because like when I went to school, there were like 18 to 20 kids in a classroom, and that was a lot for teachers because that's 1 to 20 kids. We could have easily beat the teacher up if we wanted to. They can't stop all of us, But like nowadays,
Lord of the Flies type shit.
Yeah, but nowadays it's like, they're like, hey man, if we just turn on the teacher, we could get him. But like nowadays, it's like 30 to almost sometimes close to 40 kids in a classroom in some schools, and that's an insane amount to try to keep all of those people focused. And then not only that, but to not homogenize the work to a point where you don't allow people that excel to excel because it's easier to just keep them all in the same place. Like, like you just said, everybody should just, like, a kid that's nailing the math classes, you would think what the hope would be, wow, you're really nailing this, you really get this, let's move you somewhere better. No, it's good job, we're glad that you're doing well, but like, we really don't have the time, and maybe at the end of the year we'll assess it for next year. And so there really isn't room for growth. Whereas if you're doing a homeschool, you have one teacher, and even if like Amanda and her crazy self had like 16 kids, it's still one teacher to 16 kids, and she lives with those kids 24/7. She knows what their interests are. Like, you think
I'm gonna have 16 kids? You think I'm gonna be like a Duggar of the Duggar family? But we'll be a bunch of degenerates.
Yeah, keep pumping them out. You're like,
could you imagine? So I have an excessive amount of kids like the Duggars, but I'm not like a fundamentalist like them. Yeah. It's like, could you imagine me trying to teach a bunch of kids and like trying not to swear or make a bad, like in class, trying to be like, don't make that joke. Mm-mm,
mm-mm. You're like, what the fuck? Timmy. Yeah.
Or they're like, oh, I got a 69 on my test, and just like the urge to not go, nice.
Like, I don't understand. You're like, what?
Yeah. You'll learn when you're older. Don't worry about it.
By the way, we missed a really good joke from anime.
That was yes. Pretty good. I think to be fair, I think somebody else had also made it earlier. So I'm not saying Anime stole the joke. You're not naming Schumer, but I'm just saying I want to acknowledge whoever made it earlier. I think it was Joey, maybe. Just know that you're seen and you're
You've been
valid.
seen, and we appreciate you studying and brave.
Um, and I like Chris also said something else about I think helping young people find out how their brain works and how best they learn. I think that'd be super valuable. I wish schools focused on that.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great. Like either in like preschool or kindergarten, like spend that time figuring out, okay, is this kid like a kinesthetic learner or a kinetic learner? Like they're more like if they can do it hands on, they can just fly. Like some people don't do diagrams. They're just like, oh, okay, yeah, I can build a chair. I just know how to do. Like they just are more that tactile kind of person, or they're more of a visual or auditory learner, or both. Like, or maybe they have a certain disability in this area. But I wish we didn't. I understand that medication has helped some people, but I wish we didn't medicate young children.
Yeah,
like I wish 100%. We understood how their brain worked and gave them a chance to find things that find ways to adapt.
Yeah, well, because when we were growing up, like about that time is when they started doing like Ritalin and stuff like that for kids, because they were like, oh, ADHD, which like you said, you're like, but also maybe there was a burgeoning understanding of mental health with children. But then, you started hearing about like where they were just handing this drug out to kids all the time, like Ritalin or whatever it was, to like keep kids calm, because that's the reality of it. A kid that's hyperactive, you don't want in a classroom because they are disruptive. So you put them on a drug and it makes them like
docile,
yeah, and controllable. But that kid may, like you said, that kid's brain may need more stimulation than what they're getting. There are some kids that are like that. And, in my school, there was maybe 4 or 5 kids in my class, like in my grade, that really were like really super smart, that were excelling, that were given the opportunities. Like there was a kid I remember when he was, I think he was a sophomore, he was already in trig. Like he was like just killing it in math and stuff, and they helped him go to college courses and all this stuff. There was help for those kids, but it wasn't all the time, because some of the time, like if the kid was a problem child, like I was problematic in high school. You don't have time to figure out what that kid's thing is. You're trying to like make a classroom work and stuff. And so I do think there's a lot of advocation. There should be more advocating for homeschooling, and I think there is now, because people are seeing that, but also because schools, I think the schools are getting worse. I think people are starting to notice some of the issues, not just with the curriculum, but even just the fact that like, you have like where I live specifically, like I think I talked about this last week, like there was a school that was really problematic, and instead of fixing it, they just shut it down. And then those kids went to other places. And so now instead of figuring out how to help these kids in this community, you send them to a different place, different school, different community, and they still have all the same problems, but now they're surrounded by people that don't understand their problems. So then it's just more trouble. Like, instead of how can we help these kids or whatever, it's like there needs to be more emphasis on like individualism in schools than there is, but there's no room. They don't have the support necessary to do that, because really what it is the easier it is the more homogenized you make it, the easier it is. So, yeah.
Right. So, and I don't blame teachers per se, because they have a tough job and they don't get paid that well to like, be a babysitter and wrangle all these kids. So like, I understand why they felt like they needed to, calm these kids down and whatnot. But I'm like, then build in an extra recess into the kid's day. Like, I feel like the way school is structured, I mean, we all know this, that it's meant to make you a good little worker, a good little drone, a little member of society. But like, I'm really looking into like schools, like or Montessori or just any kind of alternative schooling things where it's like, let children be children. Children were not meant to sit in chairs, 8 hours a day and just focus and just, and also like jumping from subject to subject, like having like 7 periods in a day. Like that was just always crazy to me. Because for me, it's hard for me to switch into focus. And then once I do focus, I'm out of it and I have to focus on something else. Like school, I think we switched, I think senior year, I think we switched to block scheduling, and that was a lot better for me, because it was like an hour and a half, and you did like 3 of your classes on one day and then 3 on another day, and it gave you more days to do your homework, so it wasn't constantly having to do 7 periods worth of homework. I mean, I guess some of them were like lunch or whatever, but like it just was more manageable, because for me, I do better with like more time to do deep work than trying to do like, because it takes me so long to focus. And it's funny because I was doing a beekeeping workshop a couple weekends ago, and I felt the same thing where I was like, I'm like, okay, cool. We got this. And then, but after having sat there for like 2 hours, I started being like, oh my God, I can't. And I started falling asleep. So I had to go out to my car and take a nap. And I felt so bad that I like the guy like who was teaching the thing. And it wasn't that I wasn't interested. It's just that that's not natural for humans to have to sit and just focus. And it was like an all day. It was like a 9 a.m. to like 3 or 4 kind of thing.
Fucking bees?
Yeah, well, because they had different stuff. So they had like one about like just basic like bee anatomy. He was great because he's like a teacher, and so he was like young, and he did not look like he belonged there, which I loved. He was just like this gay guy from like what is it from the UK, somewhere in like the northern UK. So he sounded like he was from Game of Thrones. He's just like, okay, so like when the bees boink, they explode, right? And he's just like doing this whole thing, and it's just like, and like, so he's funny. Like he literally says like until they boink, like so. I'm like, I related to him, yeah. but he was
boink. I get him.
Yeah, he was like, because he's the one who taught me that when male bees have sex, they literally pop. Like that is their service to the colony. It's just like, their that bee dick.
Yeah,
yeah.
Imagine it's just like yeah, you're like I get to smash and then you just die.
And I wonder, like, are they aware of their mortality? Are they aware when they go into the deed that they're gonna die, or is it just like it happens and they don't know? Because like when you're dead, you're dead. You're not gonna be aware. Like, oh shit, I died. So it's like,
I'm like, what if you're a gay bee? You're like, I don't want to die. I don't know. I'm not even gonna have a good time. Like,
oh no! It's like, hi guys. Yeah. He's like hanging out with the queen. He's like, us queens together. Yeah. Like,
then she's like, honey, I'm gonna need you to. And you're like, no, ew,
bitch, please.
And he's like, and I'm gonna have to die afterwards. No, yeah. Gay bees, yeah.
But yeah, that's I don't know. I'm just been thinking a lot lately about like, okay, if I could go back and do school again, because I actually liked school. I liked the socialization aspect, and that's probably one of the things I would worry about with my my homeschool kids. Because if I end up living where I want to live, which is like in the mountains away from people, I don't think there'd be like homeschool communities. Because like that would be ideal if you had like different parents in the community who could all like each day you went to a different house and you learned something different. Like that could be cool. But like I definitely want my kids to be leaning into their natural curiosities, really being allowed to have the time to focus on what they want to focus on, what they're naturally good at, and like give them a good baseline and everything else, and then just let them go. Because I think kids also, I stopped reading because school made me read. I enjoyed reading. I loved like the Books a Million. I liked reading when they gave you pizzas for it.
I never got pizzas, but yeah,
there were pizzas us, like, in high school.
Yeah, they gave us rewards for that. But yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, I had like, but I was kind of the same way. I had like a 12th grade reading level in like 4th grade, and I was bored because the only books that I could read that were in my level that were going to challenge me was like, it was like a biography of Abraham Lincoln. And I tried really hard. It was that or Oliver Twist. And I'd already actually read Oliver Twist. So I didn't want to read it again. So I was like, I started trying to read this biography of Abraham Lincoln. It was so boring. So I just started reading like Captain Underpants because I was bored. I was like, whatever, I'll just read books that are funny to me because like I don't want to read this stupid biography. I'm like, I don't care how tall this guy was. But there was a whole chapter about how tall this stupid guy was. And I'm like, oh my God. I know he's a president, but whatever. Yeah.
Stupid president guy.
Stupid president. Yeah.
I like school because it forced girls to be there. It's
Hi.
Like, I guess you wouldn't normally be around me, but you have no choice. So you wanna boink like bees.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll die after we have sex. Cool, huh? Yeah.
Oh God. What's a thing? So that's one thing with my brain too, is it's very hard for me to filter thoughts until after I say them. So I'm trying to be like, concerned.
No. Yeah, you started asking the question and you like backed way off. It's like hitting the brakes.
I'm trying to find a way to, because I'm curious. Is there? Nope. Okay. No. It was a question about like.
Type it in the private chat and then I can tell you if I can answer that or not.
That's true, because I'm like, like you've got like kids who exist in the world, and that might be embarrassing for them, or whatever.
Because like I'm gonna destroy you. Yeah, you'll die after you'll never. Yeah, after this,
you'll never have sex this good again.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, there was somebody. Where was it? Oh yeah. Yeah, we validate all joke origins in this room. 100%. Yeah, your joke origins are safe. So
you're safe. They're valid. Sorry, I can't type and talk at the same time.
Yeah, Amanda cannot do two things at one time.
Most people can't.
Kind of proves that she probably does have a set of balls. She hasn't got chopped off yet. Yeah, because women are supposed to multitask.
I think multitask. Why am I touching my face as if it's like? I think I'm having a break from reality.
The veil has finally done its job. She's like, oh, so okay. This is what's funny about that. You probably didn't see my Twitter post about like this episode. But I asked people to come hang out, and I said, come hang out with us as we watch Amanda's sanity slowly unravel. It's just funny to me that you're like, my face. Yeah. Have I always been behind the veil? Maybe.
Am I the veil itself?
The veil is me. Yeah.
The veil gives shape and form to my existence.
Yeah. I've always.
It's like having a Miss White moment.
Death by snoo snoo.
Death by snoo snoo. Yeah. See, I'm taking forever to type this question. See, but that's good because I'm over it now. Now I don't feel like asking it.
Well, no, you have to type it because I want to wonder the whole time.
You can ask me afterwards. No, you can ask me afterwards. The frontal lobe, that functions, that doesn't function as well in serial killers, finally kicked in. Yeah. And it was like, hey, that's probably not.
The train was like right there, and you're like, hey, wait a minute, hold on, I'll get there in a second. And the train left. You're like, oh.
The train left. I was like, you know what? That's probably for the best because that train's about to derail. Yeah. That train's headed to East Palestine or whatever, or like Ohio or whatever.
Yeah. I like how we have a place in Ohio called East Palestine, and then it's full of toxic chemicals, and I'm like, wow, that's America for you right there. Yeah.
Sorry, there's too many things. So what did you just say? I was trying to read comments and also what?
You're good there? I said
yes.
Ohio
I was trying to read the comments
East
and then
Palestine, which is funny to me that there's a place in America called East Palestine that's full of toxic chemicals.
Yeah. There's also I didn't know this, but Canton, Georgia was named apparently because people were like, we want a bougie place like Canton in China. So they want to be able to say like Cantonese cuisine or Cantonese people. Like that's Georgia.
Like, this is nothing. Is it fancy?
No. I mean, it's not like, it's like middle. It's like not a small town, but it's not like, a big city. It's not
the bougie thing they were hoping for.
I guess not.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody just sent me a thing. One thing I do appreciate is people reminding me of stuff. That's very helpful. Like when doctors' offices are like, hey, don't forget to send this in. I'm like, great. Awesome. That's helpful. Oh, or one of my favorite tasks is when I'm overwhelmed and people message me or email me, I'll send them a task to go play fetch with to give me more time.
Yeah.
So
like, hey, how are you today? Could you just go find a fucking shirt? And they're like, what?
No. It's more like like a lot of people will want information. Like if they're trying to organize something for a con and they're like, the con wants to know what panels you want to offer and give us a description of them. And also let us know if you need any like PowerPoints and also what they're titled. And my brain is like, I can't do all that right now. So then I go, hey, could you ask the con what kind of audio setup they have? Like, I'll just throw a random question to just kick the can down the road so I can just buy myself a couple more days. And then if they
forget this episode now that they know that,
well, they don't
watch this and they'll be like, oh, okay,
yeah, or like if they're trying to, or like a big problem for me is like when the cons are trying to schedule when they're going to fly me out, they're like, okay, well, they're trying to plan it like 6 months in advance. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 6 months. Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, well, so sometimes I'll be like, can you let me know where the hotel will be for the convention? That might help me figure out if I'm going to want to stay an extra day or what. I don't know. Like, I'll just try to find a way to like just make it their problem for a little bit longer so I don't have to do something.
So do you remember the first Iron Man movie when Tony Stark talks about that? She's like, what was it? There's like an event that Pepper's trying to talk to him about. And she's like, yeah, he's like, in 6 weeks. He's like, don't commit or something. Basically, like, he was like, yeah. He was like, basically just told her like push it off until it's like imminent because he didn't want to think about it until like then. Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah. That's funny. So I'm basically like a super genius, except I can't do math or science. So I can't make an Iron Man suit. I can just make a YouTube channel and just dress up in wigs and costumes, and that's the extent of that.
I mean, that's literally what he does. Like he just used
true. He just
masks to
plays
make his
dressed up.
costumes really special. Yeah,
He's just like a really extreme cosplayer. That's all
yeah,
Iron
that's
Man
basically
is.
what he was. He was just like,
He's
hey,
a
I got this
rich,
thing, and he's like, I could make a suit with this. That'd be kind of
he's a
cool.
rich cosplayer. That's all he
Yeah.
is. Him and
Well,
Batman.
him and Batman, yeah. Well, then, like, I mean, because if you like watch Iron Man 3, he just keeps making suits. He's like, I don't know what to do. I just keep making them. They do different things, and some of them aren't even worthwhile. They just this one like absorbs fart gas, and they're like, why would you make that? He's like, because I can.
Because I could.
Yeah.
What is that? Was that Jurassic Park where it's like y'all spent so much time thinking about, whether you could. You didn't think about whether you should.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum.
Um, yeah, Jarvis lasted longer than my assistant did.
That's true, but Jarvis died too. Inevitably, their AI assistants die.
You know what? I think that's something I wish I had learned in school too. You know how you like learn about? Well, actually, I guess you don't learn about death. I think that's why we're all so fucked up.
Yeah.
We should learn about death in school. There should be a whole chapter. I should teach it wearing this about death positivity, death acceptance, and just teach people that death is inevitable. We will all die. Everyone you love will die. Now, have fun at recess. That would be the class.
Get the fuck out of my face, and you'll never see me again. Yeah,
you'll never. No, I've been dead this whole time, and then I just poof away, and they're all like, ah.
I like that. I like, the door opens. They're like, we have a special guest today. You just walk in your veil, and you just like, hello, like float across the floor. We're gonna talk about death today. Do you love? Do you love someone? They'll die one day. You know this, right? Yeah.
Like, I remember a pastor once said something where he was like, yes, love is great. Finding your life partner is fantastic. But inevitably, unless it will end in heartbreak. They're like, either you will get divorced or one of you will end up standing over the coffin of the other. And I was like, ugh!
Wow.
Like, doesn't matter if they die young or even if you live a long life together, eventually one of you will have to witness the death of the other one, unless you like drive off the cliff like Thelma and Louise, or do like a murder suicide situation. But for the most part,
I mean, that sounds pretty based.
Murder suicide, pretty based.
Yeah.
That's. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I have talked to I've been in a lot of trouble over this conversation, but I will tell anybody about it, and no matter what. Because I've talked about, like, if I get old enough that, like, I can't, like, not shit my pants, that I'm just going to go, like, buy a race car or something like that and drive it off a cliff and die that way. Like, full of dynamite or something, so really make sure it happens. But, like, because it's, like, kind of the most base way to go out. Like, oh, man, I can't control my bowels. I'm shitting my pants. I don't want anybody wiping my ass for me. I'm just going to get a car, drive it off a cliff, blow up and die, and then nobody has to worry about me, and I went out on my own terms.
You
Lady
sound
Epic
like
was not happy about that.
You sound like Shield Wall saying, do you work for the Canadian government now? That's kind of what that sounds like to me, where it's like, what was it, you or somebody was telling me about this woman who's basically just really unattractive. And Canada's like, yeah, you could get a lot of plastic surgery or whatever, or you could just die.
I have not heard about that.
I need to verify that, because that sounds too good to be true. So I'm like, are you sure that's not a sketch or like a satire thing? Because like that would be really funny. I mean, it's not funny for her, but it's like, you're ugly. That's a handicap. Just die.
I'm gonna type that up and see if I can find it.
Which I feel like, to me, I wish we talked more about, when we talk about oppression or victim classes, I wish we talked more about people who are unattractive or short people. I actually feel like those people in general across races tend to do worse than people who are like, an attractive black man will get farther than a hideous white guy. That's just, they've actually done studies saying that like attractive people get paid more at work. They get better partners. They get more of a pick of everything. So it's like, to me, that seems like that would be a disadvantage. Just like, we should have like ugly people being able to like qualify for like handicap plaques and be able to park closer at Applebee's.
They're like, oh, you're hideous to look at. My God.
Oh,
have you got that looked at? Go get a sticker.
You should get that checked out, man. Like you should totally put that in your bio. That is definitely a handicap, dude.
You see You're at like a store, you see somebody pull into the handicap space, they get out and they like look completely able-bodied, and then they turn around and you're like, oh God. I get it. Like, yeah.
God, I hate this fucking tag.
Oh my God, the tag has been bothering me for a while. If you take off the veil, you're oh wow, you're
I'm pasty.
Well, no, you're dishonoring White Mike.
Oh yeah, shit. Sorry, White Mike. This whole time, I should have
Don't apologize.
flipped
He's
it.
dead now.
I should have just flipped it over.
Yeah, I thought about that, and I was like, but if I say anything, she'll take the shirt off. And now you've dishonored White Mike.
Listen, I told you before, I'm a little bit tarded. Leave me alone. It took me only an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I just moved to Canada.
You did a good job. Wow. No, but yeah. What Lady Epic was not a fan of my my death plan. She's like, think about how your kids and everything will feel. I'm like, yeah, but I'll be dead, so I won't think about that. And I'll have went out on the most awesome terms ever. And also, that's the thing. If you fill the car with like dynamite or something that's gonna blow you up and basically incinerate you, then you don't have to go get like cremated. Nobody has to deal with your remains. Sure, they have to deal with the car wreck, but like maybe you know, I'll drive into something where they don't have to like recover the car wreck or anything. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know, but I just feel like
I mean,
that's the best way to
somebody's
go.
gonna have to find your nasty ass body. You're gonna be traumatizing someone's day.
What if it's like, yeah, I guess, but I'm like, I want to make sure, like, leave a note, like, hey, listen, don't come find my body. I'm definitely dead, and also, whatever's left of me, you don't really want to find or deal with. I actually saw a thing the other day. I'm also jumping all over the place today, but I thought it was impressive. It was one of the most like impressive advocations for like weight loss I've ever seen. Some guy was basically like, he was like talking about it, and he goes, I realized one day that I really wanted to lose weight because I don't want to be the guy that when I die, the EMT looks at my body and goes, fuck. And I was like, oh no. And I was like, I never thought about that before. Yeah.
It's true. Like, you know, they'll show them like picking them up on a stretcher. Could you imagine them dropping you? Like you weren't dead before, but now you are because you died of being too fat, but not from like heart disease, just because your fat ass got dropped.
Yeah.
Or like your coffin. You're going to cost your family so much more. Like, have you seen an obese person coffin? They're kind of hilarious. It's awful, but they look it looks a little bit like a grand piano without the legs.
I gotta look this up now. Wow.
George Carlin once said the PC name for ugly people is person with severe appearance deficits.
That's actually, oh my god, that's awful. Wow. And then like they even show the graves. They have to dig the graves wider.
It's like 6 feet deep and 6 feet wide.
Yeah,
36 square feet, I guess.
Just shove my fat ass in there. Like I don't care if the lid doesn't close. Like ratchet that shit down. I don't care. I'm dead.
Yeah, but you're like family, like your poor kids will be like sitting there sobbing because they see daddy's bits and pieces sticking out of the coffin and people just nailing, and you're just like
ratchet strapping it down. Like,
yeah,
this guy was fucking huge. Like that's my thing. Like I don't know.
This was enormous, Mike.
Yeah, enormous. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. There's no. Yeah, we don't use the word fat anymore. We use the word enormous. Speaking of which, they reversed.
They backtracked it. Yeah.
Yeah, they did real fast too. They're like, "Fuck, we kind of messed up. We're sorry." Yeah.
I don't know if I should keep the last name. Whatever. I might change it back to Mike. Enormous Mike might be funny. We'll see. The chat can vote on it.
You know, and I'm nice enough that I won't change your name.
Oh, that's true. I guess you could because I gave you.
Yeah. I have that.
What would it be? We change it. Oh, see, you just all talk, all bark, and no bite.
Here we go.
When the pandemic first kicked off, I was almost 300 pounds. I was on someone's live stream a couple weeks ago, and I saw I looked like a borderline meth head. There's just no winning. Yeah, extremes are never fun. I'm a weirdo. I tend to be like plump. that is my aesthetic, I guess. It's like plump. Like there was a guy on this online dating thing where he was like. He's like, I was like, oh, he's cute. He's like a big old bear guy. And then he's like, I've lost weight. Swipe right. I was like, and I saw some of the other pictures. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me.
Oh,
it's I think
way to get in shape.
Yeah, no, I was like, good for you, but also.
Yeah, way to get in shape, you skinny piece of shit.
It's not that, but it's not like being obese. It's more just like being like fluffy, where it's just like big old bearded fluffy guy. I don't know.
It's like like Amanda marries a guy and he like starts losing weight and she's like, "Hey, sweetheart, just eat a couple fucking breadsticks." Yeah,
yeah,
eat
you're
some
disgusting.
Yeah,
this is so extreme, honey.
Yeah.
Like, well, I had that worry the other day. I'm like, am I actually straight? Like, do I actually like men, or do I just like their beards?
I saw your post on Facebook about that. That
Yeah,
was
I was like, I
concerning.
don't, because I was like, I'll be like, ooh, nice beard, and then he'll have a shaved picture. I'm like, hmm. And I was like, when you marry somebody with a beard, is it safe to assume he'll always have the beard? Because I'm like, if that's the case, then it'll be fine. But I'm like, if the beard is the contingent, like, what if he gets cancer? Am I gonna leave him?
I was gonna
A
say
little bit
the worst
sore.
thing that could happen to somebody, like they say, till death do you part, and then like, yeah, they get cancer and they have to go through chemo and they get really skinny and lose their facial hair. And the man is like, "Listen, I love you, but like,
Let's
this
get you
is
like a beard
problem."
transplant. Like, I know you're
Yes.
dying of cancer, but
She's
I
just
have a
like,
Party City subscription. There's not a
I have
subscription.
I
Like
have an idea, and she just
I
starts
can get
like
a fake beard.
just drawing on their face with marker. She's like, "That's
Just like,
fine."
there you go. That's better.
This is okay.
My
And there's like shoves a pillow up their shirt, and she's like, "You're good."
my sim shaved his beard without my permission, and I was so mad. I was so mad that I like exited out of the game and didn't save it just to go back and in time to where I
Stop
had
him.
previously to stop him
Yeah.
from doing that.
Yeah. I like how you like you were like you questioned your sexuality because you're like, am I just really into beards and facial hair?
Yeah, I think I'm just like I don't care about the person, I guess. Granted, I guess it's also like, when you're just going by looks, we're all going to go by whatever our thing is. So like a guy might not be into short-haired women.
Mhm.
She might be a great person, but if she has short hair at the time, he might swipe left on her.
Mhm.
Not knowing that maybe one day she'll grow her hair long or whatever. But like if that's a deal breaker for him, I could understand. I don't know. I guess I could understand that, but it's just funny. Yeah, it's a beard fetish.
Yeah.
Like I'm like this, and the funny thing is, the sim looks like a model without the beard. But I was like, ugh.
Yeah. We're gonna have
Yeah.
chiseled features, you freak.
I'm like, cover that shit up, you monster.
That was the first thing I thought of, Doug, by the way, was the beard thing. Cause like, yeah. She was like, no, I'm literally married to a beard. And you're like, oh no, like
No, your wife is married to a beard.
yeah, well.
Wait, no, the beard is the one who. No, I guess no. Your wife is the beard. You're married to
Yeah.
a beard because you're gay. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
But then
Yeah,
you'd be married. You just admitted you'd be marrying a beard as well.
Yeah, but that would mean so you're saying that I would be the one who's gay, and then because that's usually what a beard is.
Yeah.
A beard is your gay. Is the person who makes you look like you're straight because you're with
Yeah.
them. Okay. But I don't like vagina either. As far as I know, women can't. Well, I guess it's 2023, but I was gonna say women
I
can't
was
grow
like,
beards.
excuse me? Yeah, that
But
was
like,
awfully bigoted of you. Yeah.
like a lot of guys can't grow beards, but most women, pretty sure.
Most women, yeah. But that's the thing. She just wants a beard, and like, don't try to get in shape. Just knock it off, okay? Just
but it's like one of those things where I want him to be strong. Like I want him to go powerlifting with me.
yeah. She's like, she's like feeding him bread. This is the thing. So like, you have to be like, yeah, deadlifting like 600 pounds, but she'll be
Right.
like feeding you a
But both-
breadstick at the same time.
I'll be like bulking him, and just like when he tries to cut, I'm like, no cutting.
Just like a piece of pie. Just eating
Yeah.
pie while he's like, yeah, also deadlifting and like squatting 500 pounds. She's like, wow, you're so strong. Here's a pizza. And he's like,
The
"Thanks,
funny
honey."
thing is that I'm okay with that, but then when it goes in reverse, I'm like, oh, I can't date till I'm completely fit. It's just funny that I'm like, I'll have lower standards for him, but then for me, I'm like, oh no, but I need abs.
Yeah.
Like
There's a very, very specific window target that Amanda's aiming for. That when she hits it, it'll be perfection.
Well, because the thing is, I like having curves. I don't want to be skinny. I don't look good skinny. My face looks weird skinny. Like I actually prefer my face now when it's fatter because it actually makes me look younger because it's more filled out. And so when I'm skinny, I feel like it's more hollow here and everything's kind of just a little bit more like I look like an awkward teenager. So like I want to keep that. I want to keep. Is that not how you breathe as a teenager, Mike?
No. I'm just a teenager. Yeah.
Hold on. Oh my god, I almost hit block user. Sorry, Digimental. I was trying to hit show. She wants a guy built like a refrigerator with a beard.
Yeah.
Who was it the other day in the Discord that everybody was? Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Who was it in the Discord the other day that I think Meerkat was barfing over? Oh, I think it was Alex Jones. I was like, look, I don't agree with everything he says, but he's got the physical type. And Meerkat's like, oh my God, can we stop? Especially because I think I was doing it in the anime and video game thread. And he's like, anyway, I'm just like, I'm not saying I agree with him all the time. I'm just saying I would mount him like a pony.
This is the thing, the Discord, it doesn't matter what channel you're in. Amanda's just going to drop whatever she thinks in that channel specifically. And it can be, but if you're off topic, she's like, hey, guys, just mentioning, this is the food one. So maybe go put that in that one. But then she'll be like, also, Alex Jones. And you're like, what does that have to do with food? And she's like, it's my fucking Discord. Like, don't.
I can do what I want. You just sit here and like it. Oh my God. This is it. This is the real reason. The real reason Amanda wants a guy like that is so she can steal his hood. So it's true. So if you were for those of you in the Discord, this weekend I was like, I can't film my white supremacy sketch because I can't find my clan hood. No, to be fair, I think I just said, I can't find my clan hood, guys. I'm really upset. And I didn't clarify what it was for. and then I was like, yeah, and then we were just making all sorts of jokes, but I think I said something like, I think the help stole it, just like they stole my china.
That's 100% how she led with it. She did not give any context at all. She just said, I can't find my clan hood, and we were supposed to all just know what that meant. I know what it meant because we talked about it. But if you don't know anything, and this is your first time in Amanda's Discord, all you see is her ranting in multiple places while not being able to find her clan hood.
It's still frustrating because I wanted to film it before I get my balls removed, because I just don't know how it's going to affect my voice. But no, I'm very frustrated because I don't know. I've looked everywhere. Like, I remember that I did hide it because I remember one time because I have like a cleaning lady come once a month because she's going to do the stuff that I don't do, like the toilets or the bathroom, or I just forget. So like once a month they come in, and I remember being like, oh fuck, and I think I grabbed the hood and I hid it somewhere so that they wouldn't accidentally find it. But now I can't accidentally find it, and I'm very upset because it means I'm gonna have to cut up another pillowcase, and I don't want to.
Poor you.
It took a while to get the eyes level. Okay, you don't understand.
You literally have shit out of this thing.
Yeah, you literally have to take a pillowcase, put it on your head, kind of feel around where your eyes are, and then I took like a Sharpie and I kind of like did like a drew on that part so I knew I would know where to cut, because like you're not going to cut it with your eyeballs there unless you like live on the edge. And then you have to make sure that you're cutting it evenly across the bottom. There's a lot that goes into being a racist. I'm just saying, like, give them a little bit more credit. Like, yeah, they're not great people, but they at least they have discipline and they follow through on like their cross burnings and their threats. It takes a lot to organize a racist rally. Coordinating all those tiki torches and not setting anything on fire. I mean, somebody did die, but not from fire. So kudos to whoever organized that. They sent out a doodle to all the racists, being like, okay, guys, what day are we going to do our Charlottesville rally? Okay, what chant are we going to do? That feels like a sketch. Like, the coordinator of the racist rally. She's like, okay, what slogan are we going to say? Because we can't all be saying different things. We have to have a cohesive message. Okay. She's got like the visor on and like a clipboard. She looks like a Karen. She looks like a Karen, except she's got like the swastika armband. That's the only difference.
I just wanted to see how long she would go with this, and it just kept like.
I would do this regardless of if you guys were here or not. That's the 100%. Thing. It's like my brain doesn't stop, so I'm like, oh, that's how I come up with a sketch. I'm like, that'd be funny. That'd be funny. No. That'd be funny. Oh, okay. What was I doing?
No. We typically, like, when we get done with these like streams, we're like, okay, cool, we got to wrap it up or whatever. And then we get done. We usually talk for like 30 to 45 minutes afterwards. And then there's usually at least 2 sketch ideas that come from that with Amanda. Yeah.
The problem is I just don't have the time or the I was like, I'm going to get 4 sketches filmed this weekend. And then I got none filmed. I did film one last night. But it's just harder. Like, I don't understand how these TikTokers are able to make a sketch every day. Granted, they're probably not making the kind of sketches I make. Like, my sketches actually require like editing and effort. But I am impressed by what short form content creators are able to do, because I'm not a short form content creator. I actually hate doing shorts because I don't like being rushed in under 60 seconds. I hate vertical. I hate all of it. I hate that that's how you grow your channel, but I've been having to do more just to try and grow it because YouTube doesn't push my other videos. But I am impressed because some short form stuff will make you laugh, and they don't even have to record any dialogue. It's just like a funny title, and then they're doing something funny. Like the what is the one where it's like the Dora the Explorer guy? Have you seen him? He's like this, like,
Oh
this,
yeah,
like,
the
tall,
backpack. Yeah.
the tall black guy who's like dressed up like Dora the Explorer, and he's always the Dora music's playing, and his hair is always like swaying, and he's like dun, 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 dun. And like, so there was one that was literally like Dora, but he had like the Whitney Houston hair, and it was like Whitney Houston after hearing J-Lo sing some of her songs at the Grammys, and it showed Whitney Houston as Dora, like dancing down from heaven into the Staples Center, standing up on stage and just pulling the plug on the sound system. Didn't have to record any audio, didn't have to, but it's like, so that's funny. It was like 6 seconds. I'm like, why can't my brain think in simple, funny ideas? It's always got to be a full, even one of my shortest sketches, which was the Munchkin ones, I still had green screen of myself 3 times that I had to like layer over and try to interact with myself. I'm like, really?
Extra. She's just born extra. Yeah.
So
I even, when I've been like, hey, why don't you try this? She's like, I mean, I could, or I could do this other fucking sketch, which is way more complicated.
Well, and also I can't work on commission, basically. So like I have like my person who's like, hey, this is trending right now, you should jump on that. I'm like, I don't have any ideas for that, but I have an idea for this. It's just like,
I don't want to do that. That's very trending right now. Okay.
Well, it's more that it has to come to me organically, like the idea of the lady who organizes the rallies. Like, you know, like what's that lady like? That's a funny idea to me. But like if somebody says, hey, can you write a sketch about the train derailment? My brain, I don't know. It's like, I think creativity sometimes does work well within a box because it gives you parameters to play inside of. But to me, that's such a small, like, what do I say about it? I don't know. But I don't know.
But it seems like the farther we get into white supremacy, the more sketches seem to just manifest themselves.
Because it's funny to me. Because
it just kept going, and I was like, yeah.
Like I was having
like, what do we do? At what point do we pull the plug?
I'm really curious. Canada would be like, we already did.
Yeah.
We're not even sure if they were sick. We just pulled the plug.
We just pulled the plug. They were very, we just didn't know. We were worried that maybe they wouldn't age gracefully, so we just ended up.
Yeah, just like we were worried she's gonna have wrinkles, so we told her just, you know, kill herself, just pull the plug. We'll euthanize you. Ooh, that might be a sketch. It might be a little dark, but I'm just thinking like the new Canada like euthanization program where it's like acne, euthanasia. Like, you know how I said a couple streams ago that it used to be that doctors would prescribe for women, they're always prescribing birth control for every problem.
Yeah.
Just like a sketch like that.
For everything. Like, oh, my tummy hurts, so like just
have you tried euthanasia about it?
Have you tried dying?
And then I'm just writing these down. That's what I have to do. I have to, like, when I have an idea, I'm just like, I shared a sketch idea with a man who replied to me with an epic mic. That's actually good, but no. Wait, I don't even remember.
It's okay. I don't remember either. I don't realize sometimes what I say and how I come across. Just because Amanda's called out, she's like, that actually is funny. You keep saying that like my stuff isn't funny. And I've also been called out by a British guy one time when I was like, "Hot, that's funny." Because he's like, you know, when you say that's funny, it's almost like you're insulting me because you could have just laughed instead.
Right.
And I was like, well, because I didn't laugh, but I want to acknowledge that it's funny. And he's like, well, I've gotten that now. But in the context of how they talk over there, somebody saying that's funny is like an insult. So I was like, oh, so the first like couple weeks I've known you, I was just insulting you constantly. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's funny is not that bad to me. But it's if you say it with a dead face, if you're like, huh, that's funny.
No, I do that a lot.
Like a Kardashian.
Yeah, that's funny.
Like
that's
that. Yeah, that's so hot. Like that's funny. Or oh my God, I had a friend who would go off the handle. And I don't hear people say it anymore, but I guess it was like 10 years ago or whatever. But you'd hear people laugh. And like after the end of a conversation, we'd all be like, good times. And I had a friend who would go off. She hated that so much for whatever reason. She hated when people say good times. Yeah, to me,
I guess I fucked up Doug.
Yeah, you're spreading your cancer to other people, and now they're gonna have to get euthanized too.
Yeah. Have you seen people do the laugh with no smile thing? I have to find like there's an old video of a guy that did that where it was just like the challenge is you're supposed to laugh without smiling, and they would just post videos of it
like that.
Like
just kind of...
You have to
Like a
laugh
full-on.
really hard. Yeah, like a full-on laugh.
Yeah, I guess it's like not. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, this is I gotta find
It
the
sounds like
video,
Beavis and Butthead.
yeah. There's a guy that did it, and he was like laughing hysterically, and his face was just fucking blank, and his mouth was just open, and it was like actually kind of
Scary.
disturbing, but it was funny as hell too. Yeah. Damn, I don't even know where that video is anymore. Let's see if I can find it.
You know that if this
go ahead.
Go. What the fuck were you gonna say, Mike?
I was gonna say
damn it.
you're just being really fucking quiet, and I was gonna keep talking, but then you just didn't say anything.
Because I had like a second where I was rebooting.
Oh,
My brain's
gotcha.
just like it's like buffering and then it has to reinstall the software.
And then you yelled at me for saying something.
Because I thought it was funny. Because I find emotionally abusing mics, only mics.
Yeah, I've noticed there's a pattern to the people.
I find it it's a good hobby. You know, I was just this morning. I just was doing an online class. Like I hopped in to help with a voiceover class and kind of gave them advice and did a Q&A about the industry and whatnot. And I did say have other hobbies outside of acting, because once you make your hobby your career, that hobby's not fun anymore. So I think that's why I've replaced it with emotionally abusing mics. Was just like acting had to be replaced by something.
Yeah.
So
Amanda doesn't understand, and I've explained this to her before, but she's still holding out hope that that's not the case, is that I perpetually don't like myself anyways. So her trying to emotionally disturb me is actually helping me fulfill my hatred of myself. So it's a vicious cycle, really. Yeah.
So wait, me emotionally abusing you is actually helpful in helping you realize who you are.
No. It just makes me dislike myself even more. I'm like, oh, you're a piece of shit. Like, but now I don't have to say it because you're already saying it to me. So,
do you want to know?
Invest more time into like just deflecting all of your hatred at me.
Yeah. Speaking of, that's kind of a good segue into how did this happen? He's like, so I just realized something. How did you two even know each other, then decide to do this show together? What is the origin story? So honestly, I want to do a weekly live stream. Actually, I was like going to do daily. Like that's because I get really overambitious. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be like The View. And every day I'll be talking about whatever everybody's talking about. Thank God I didn't, because I would have burnt out. And also, you can't be that I don't like being terminally online where you actually have to pay attention.
She can barely get here for the weeklies. So
yeah. So I basically was like, I knew I wanted to start a live stream. I thought it'd be fun. Because also I had only been doing sketches and I felt like I hadn't done any videos as me, so I feel like people didn't know who I was, so I wanted to kind of do the live streams to kind of get them to know like me and my personality and also my thoughts, so that I don't know, you get a little bit more depth, I guess, than just a 5-minute or 2 to 5 minute sketch. So yeah, basically, I knew I wanted to do the show. I was thinking it was going to be a rotating panel of people, but I figured, well, let me just start out. So in the beginning, I had a couple friends on. I tried some things out. But honestly, Mike, it was because I don't like messaging people. I hate getting DMs. I hate people bothering me. And Mike was bothering me every day. I'm just kidding. Yeah. He was just like, hi. I'm just like, oh my God, Mike, be on my live stream.
Yeah. That's basically how it happened. Yeah.
No,
listen, I don't have any friends and I don't like talking to people, but I already have to do a fucking live stream every week to meet people and to grow my channel. You might as well just show up there and I'll talk to you then. And I was like, oh, okay.
It's because I actually am like, all right, with my actual friends, like I don't respond to most people messaging me. I don't like even check them most of the time because I just get overwhelmed. So for me, I have a couple friends that like will text me or whatever, but for the most part, I don't talk to anybody every day except maybe my little sister. And so Mike was like checking in, like, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. And so I think it started with me being like, hey, actually, how are you is a very annoying question for me because it's more work for me. So stop asking me.
And I was like, I'll never ask you again. And then she was like, okay, well, maybe there's a solution here. I'm like, okay. And she's like, maybe the middle ground is, just so you know I didn't die during the week, we'll just do a weekly check-in. This is really all this is a weekly check-in.
To make sure I'm not dead
just to make sure she didn't die.
Yeah, to make sure I didn't off myself, like Big George.
Off herself or die based on one of her random hobbies that she's picked up this week.
Shooting my dick off. So Mike just cold DM'd you to be on the show. How dare you? This is my channel.
No.
I was like, well, I'm gonna do this weekly show. Do you want to be on it? But I wasn't. I don't think the intention was necessarily for you to always be the main co-host. But then I feel like we just kind of played off of each other really well. And you helped keep me on track mentally, but also you indulged my tangents, and it kind of went to a fun place. So yeah, then we just kept.
I just haven't stopped her, and she was like, "I like you as a co-host. You don't stop me when I start going off."
Yeah, you basically just let me do what I want, and that's why we're friends.
Yeah.
So I basically just it started as like, well, I don't mind talking to you on the phone or like visually. I just don't like texting people. So yeah, if you guys are messaging me, don't bother because I don't read them.
She doesn't read them.
Or if I do read them, I just am like trying to humor you and then go back into my veiled abyss, I guess, veiled slumber. I don't even know. So just know it's not personal, but don't message me. Do not perceive me.
One of my favorite parts about being her co-host is some of the things she doesn't see. Like, she hasn't noticed that I changed her name a long time ago.
I did. I said a little bit
acknowledge it.
Yes, I did. I said a little bit totted, and I kept going.
Yeah, but you've said that like 5 times today already in this sketch. In this whole live stream.
What do you want? Do you want me to be like, oh my god, someone with a massive horse dick just changed my name, guys. Just stop the stream.
You could have acknowledged that I changed your name. That's all.
Well, I'll do it next time, but I'm always gonna call out the horse dick. So
no,
decide.
Thing. My white Mike did prove that. My white Mike died so that Dark Mike could run. No.
He died for your sins.
Yeah, white Mike is basically AI Jesus. Yeah.
The veil void. I like that. I will return from whence I came to the veil void from whence I. Wow.
This is her like metamorphosizing in front of us.
Yeah. This is like my true form, and I'm so glad you guys like let me feel comfortable. And it's like the James O'Keefe sketch I made, which no longer is relevant because he's not at Project Veritas, but where she like unzips herself, and that's what I'll do. Like one day on stream, I'll just be like, "Oh, guys, I feel comfortable to finally just show you who I am." And then the stream goes like fuzzy and like blacks out, and like YouTube is like, "No, we can't let people see this."
Yeah, because really who she is Alex Jones. Yeah. She unzips herself and she's just, it's just really Alex Jones. That was his way of getting back on the
on the internet.
Yeah, he's like, if I become a slightly racist black woman, they can't kick me off the platform.
Yeah. Genius. That's oh
my god, because you remember when he was on Joe Rogan's podcast, what he said, right?
Which time?
His when he said he was retarded, because I know we're not supposed to say that word or whatever. I just realized that. Oh my god!
It's all linked together, Mike. You finally figured me out. Yep. That's why I'm wearing the veil, because the Amanda suit's been cracking. I need to get her repaired.
Pull it off, yeah.
I need to take her back to the cosplay shop.
This whole time, like, just been seating like, oh yeah, like slightly chubbier, like bearded white men are her thing, and it's because Alex Jones is just trying to make people attracted to him more. This is all like
yeah, I'm just really into like the redneck conspiracy. Oh my god, there's a guy I'm talking to right now who like, well, I'm not really talking to him. I'm kind of like trying to avoid him now, but like I don't know. He was cute, but then he's like, I was like, so because men seem to not put anything in their profile these days. They're just like minimal effort, I guess, or some do, but for the most part, they're just like, I don't know, just seeing what this thing's about. I'm not really good at this, whatever. So then great. I have nothing to start a conversation with you with. So I was like, hey, like what's something that you really enjoy? Like what lights you up? Like when you start talking about it, like you just can't stop talking about it. So I said, like, for me, like right now it's like random historical facts, backyard ducks, and ghosts. And, he was like, for me, it's probably that the media is all or everything in the media is fabricated in a hoax. And part of me was like, interesting. So I was like, yeah, I've kind of gone on that journey where I stopped trusting the media too. And, a lot of stuff is definitely spin. And then he's like, you should check out these guys. And I went to their YouTube channel. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Where do we draw the line with conspiracy theorists?
I mean,
do we draw the line at like flat Earth? Or is that still allowable? Because I'm like, I don't know how you justify that one.
That's a really good question. I actually don't know. I don't know where you draw. I guess you just kind of have to decide where you want to draw that line at.
Because like, I shouldn't be putting all this stuff on the internet because, like, what if one day we get married? What if he's the love of my life and he's just like a weird conspiracy
you just
theorist who
totally
lives in a
went with
bunker?
it, but
And
then he
like now
goes
he'll
back and rewatches all your streams.
this will be like in a rom-com where everything's going great and they're about to get married, but then there's always that like pitfall where like they discover the truth about the other person, like that they were just doing it for a bet or whatever. So that's what this would be. He'd be like proposed, but then he sees my live stream and he sees me making fun of him. But he was like, the next question, I was like, okay, cool, I'll check it out, which is what I say when I'm absolutely not going to check out something. I don't know what to say. I'm like, oh, cool, I'll look into it, whatever. And then he's like, are you Latina? And I was like, nope, I'm biracial, black and white. And he goes, call me. And he gave me his number. I was like, I don't feel comfortable with this person yet.
Damn,
like, that's not how
really
you have
forward. He was like, yeah, are you Latina? Oh, cool. Okay. I'm into that. Yeah.
Well, he was like, are you Latina? Yeah, well, I was curious if he was going to be like, black, ew, or something like that. But he was like, I guess, I don't know if it's like, I don't know if he was going to say call me either way, or if it's because I said like I'm biracial. He's like, yeah.
He's like, are you Latina?
Yes.
He's like, you Latina? Yeah. And then he just blocks you.
Yeah. I was honestly like, I've never, the racism I've seen on the apps, thankfully, they say ahead of time. And apparently I slide through. I guess I'm like pretty white looking, but like I've seen profiles, I've taken pictures of them. I think I'm going to use them for some of the dramatic readings. But there's one guy that's like, which honestly, I appreciate that people are straightforward about what they like because we all have racial preferences. We all have sexual preferences. Anybody who says they don't is fucking lying. But some people will actually say it in their profile. So there was one, I can't even remember. It was like something where he was holding a picture of his nephew, or he was holding his nephew. And it was like, I love sports, blah, 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 beers, good times, good friends, good conversation, no black chicks. I just died because it was so out of nowhere. But the funny thing is, they, I don't know. It was just, I at least respect that you like, don't waste my time. But then they'll still swipe right on me. So I guess they don't notice. Like, to me, I thought the hair was kind of obvious, but I'm like, wait, so what would happen if we did date? Would it be something where if they found out I was black, they'd be like, ugh, bleh, bleh, bleh.
Yeah,
or would it change their mind?
I thought I was attracted to you, but now I can't be.
Right. Yeah. I did see some of that on Twitter. Like, I don't like Meghan Markle, but I do remember when she first, dated Prince Harry or whatever and became like more famous, she was on Suits. And I remember seeing a tweet where somebody was like, ew, she's black. I thought, I used to think she was hot or something like that. Like, because on Suits, she seems like they don't really mention the race of the character.
Mm.
But then in one episode, I think that's what it was. There was an episode where they show her father and her father's black. And I saw a Twitter commenter being like, ew, she's black. And I thought she was hot or whatever. So I'm like, I guess I'm always thinking like there's that kind of guy out there. But I'm like, that guy probably will never have anybody touch him. No woman will ever touch him, black or white.
Yeah, he's like, oh man, you look like a terrible. Oh man, this albino woman I'm really attracted to. And she's like, yeah, my dad's black. And he's like, oh, I can't do it.
Yeah, like it's profiles like that are funny, not gonna lie. Like, honestly, they are. That's why I take pictures of them. There was another one that was so great that I need to also do a dramatic reading of. And honestly, if you guys have one from women, please share them with me, just because I'm not swiping for women, so I'm only seeing guy profiles, but I want to show how ridiculous everybody out there is being. I did like the one that I saw. It was like a screenshot of like a fat chick, and she was an enormous chick, using the Roald Dahl updates, the modern updates.
Appreciate it.
But it was like, what we talked about it before. It was like 6 inches, 7 figures. No, 6 inches, 7 something.
Yeah. It was
no, 6 feet tall, 7 inches, 8 figures or bust or something like that.
Yeah, or some shit like that. Yeah, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, listen, if she finds the right person, she's hit the bank. Because like, what if it's like, oh, I have 6 figures, and she's like,
sorry.
Kind of wish I would have said 8. Yeah.
Yeah, she's naming it and claiming it like a Joel Osteen type. She's like putting it out there. But yeah, there's another guy who swiped right on me and was talking to me. So clearly he thought I was white, I guess. But in his profile, he says several times that he's not interested in black women. He's like, I'm not racist. It's just a preference. Which honestly, I kind of agree with. Like, where it's like, look, if somebody has a preference, why are you trying to force it on them? So like for me, I'm like, okay, it's weird that you'd mention up front, just like don't swipe on those people is kind of my thing.
That's why it's weird. Because when you have to preference something with, listen, I'm not racist, that usually starts it out in a bad light.
I I understand though. Like, I don't know. No, go on.
Like, okay, here's a good example. I have a friend who, he's a good dude, good friend, known him for years, and sometimes he says some really ignorant stuff. Occasionally, it's always sometimes it's borderline. But I remember this was back when the Black Panther trailer first came out, the first Black Panther movie, and the trailer came out, and they played "Run the Jewels," a song from "Run the Jewels," in the trailer or whatever. And we're all sitting there, and I was like, dude, this trailer was awesome. We were talking about it and stuff. And he goes, listen, I don't want to sound racist. And I'm like, oh my God. See, that already sets the precedent that what you're going to say is racist. If you had just said the ignorant shit and left it there, then people could have interpreted that, and then you could have defended yourself after the fact. But what you did was you led with, this is definitely going to sound racist. Probably is a little bit racist, but I'm trying to let you know that that's not what my intention is. And he's like, I just hope it's not like black, like, you know what I mean? Like black, but you know, like, I kind of hope it's like more African black. And I was like, yeah, that certainly doesn't sound extremely racist right now. And he was like, well, you know what I'm trying to say though? And I'm like, why don't you just say it? Like, you know, cause like, so when you say like, listen, I'm not racist, but no black chicks, you could have just, once again, not swiped on those people.
Right. Just don't swipe on those people.
Yeah.
I think it's that they just don't want them messaging them. It's like, look, most of the people who message me I'm not interested in, but I can't stop them from messaging me. I just don't swipe back, or I don't respond. Like, sorry, that's kind of the nature of the game, I guess. Like, you're only going to marry one person ideally. So like, unless you're Mormon. So
you just put up a shield and say like, no blacks on it.
No black
precedents.
It's I think that's what it is. It's like you had this much real estate in your profile, and you felt that was important enough to say like, I like this and that. No black chicks.
Yeah.
You know, like, and
that's why it's weird sometimes. Yeah.
One of my favorites, Drunk 3PO. What's up? He shows up right as I'm saying no black chicks. We're talking about online dating. There was one guy who literally said, it was the guy who's like, look, I'm not racist, but I'm not a white chicks only. And honestly, I'm looking for my goth Melissa McCarthy type. You know, so it's funny because, like, you know, I have my weird like chubby type, but he like, I just thought that was so funny that he's like, are you my goth Melissa McCarthy?
But that, I guess, I mean, right, like, that's a good way to lead with it, because it doesn't feel like you're like, hey, this is what I'm looking for, versus being like, no black chicks, no thanks.
No black chicks.
Yeah. Because like, it's also weird if you're like, no white chicks, no thank you, because like then you're like, okay, cool, but like, I don't know, it's just weird. It, like you said, in that real estate, you go like, this is what I think really needs to be said, so people really get where I'm coming from.
I mean, I understand you don't want to waste anybody's time, but also,
but once again, you don't have to talk to those people.
No, but I don't know, because people don't read people's profiles, which is annoying. Like, I put a decent amount in mine, and I'm like, if you have nothing to say when I put a bunch of goofy, weird shit that you can respond to, you're not someone who's worth my time. Like, that drives me nuts. Like, if I'll ask a question and they don't fully answer it, they're like, oh yeah, I love it. And I ask them, like, you know, what do you do? You know, like, oh, cool, you have a business. What is your business about? Like, you know, what are you passionate about? He's like, yeah, I really love it. Nice. I'm like, well, I've already asked a question, so I'm thinking, like, is that just him like ending the conversation? Like, I tend to just not respond anymore, because I used to be somebody who tried to keep the conversation going, but I'm like, usually there's like a question and an answer, and then you ask a question, or you say something, or we try to play off each other, but I'm not going to do all this work for you. Like, to me, that just says I'm not interested. So I'm like, well, okay, then I guess you're not interested. All right. Yeah. So anyway, I'm here to watch Mike look dead-eyed in the camera and say, I love you, Jay. Well, you know what to do.
I love you, Jay. There we go.
That was gonna leave. I hope I hope that gets clipped, and I hope that the internet ships you guys, because I think it's what we've all wanted, that you finally acknowledge it.
Me and Drunk 3PO together. Yeah. I have said some very, very, very I have commented on Drunk 3PO and how good looking he is consistently. He's one of the most good looking men on the internet.
As you drink a big old swig of water because you a thirsty hoe.
Yeah.
I like that Jay is like not even like worried about why I look like a jihadi bride.
He never commented. But no,
he's
that's
like,
the thing.
This
There's only been like one or two people that come in and they go, what have I walked into? Most people are like, yeah, that sounds about right.
They're like, this Sure. We'll just run with it. Yeah, no, it's because we're in mourning. How
Yeah.
many of these interactions actually result in a date? Very few of them. Although I'm actually the opposite of a lot of people. I actually would rather meet sooner than later. Because to me, like I said, I hate messaging. I hate people bothering me with texting and shit. It drives me nuts. Like, stop messaging me. Message me once a week, maybe. Go
Yeah.
away. um, but so like to me, having to message strangers every day, I'm like, this is a huge waste of my time. I have no idea if I'm actually going to date you. So for
Yeah.
me, if I'm like, okay, my preference is like if we've been talking for like a day or two and it seems like we have a similar sense of humor and we don't hate each other and I'm attracted to their picture and they clearly are attracted to me if they swiped on me, then I say like, hey, want to grab coffee? That's always weird though. A lot of guys, I don't know if they're just on the apps to be on the apps or something. Cause like there's like one guy who's like, oh, I'm kind of shy. I don't know. And I was instantly like, nope, never mind.
Yeah. Sounds kind
Like,
of passive.
well,
Deuces. No, no shy guys. Okay. Yeah.
well, it's more that I'm like, I did the work for you. I said, hey,
Yeah.
let's go grab food. So to me, that says either I'm not interested or I'm a big old pussy. If I
Mm.
say, hey, let's grab coffee, or like, like, would you like to talk about it over, over coffee, over lunch?
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't know, I'm kind of shy. But I'm like, all right, guess you're not interested.
Yeah. Like,
You
all
can
right,
be
let's
shy
chill
and
out.
grab
Yeah.
coffee.
She's
Yeah,
like,
I'm
okay,
just,
you
I'm
know
just.
what? Let's just chill out a little bit. Yeah.
It'd be different if I was like, "Are you gonna ask me out?" And then he's like, "I'm kind of shy." Like that's different. But I'm like, "Bitch, I did all the fucking work for you." And honestly, that's why I'm not attracted to a lot of people because I don't want a passive fucking person. But I also don't want somebody who keeps annoying me either.
Yeah.
Like,
Don't talk to me too much, but also don't not talk to me and be passive about. Let's keep it in this window right here, okay?
it's more having healthy understanding of human interaction. So if you're on the spectrum, that's gonna be a lot harder for you to pick up on my cues that you're getting on my fucking nerves, you know? So like I just want a guy who's like socially semi-normal, who's able to go, okay, she didn't respond to my last couple messages. I'm gonna take a break. As opposed to just keep messaging me. That's fucking annoying. So so I don't know. That's kind of my thing now. Is I used to be somebody who tried to. I was so desperate for to make it work with somebody that I would be like
Yeah.
carrying the conversation. And Ivan has a really great one. Ivan Ortega. He has a. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he didn't come up with it, but he's like, he was like, one time he told a girl like, "Oh my god, I'm going to the hospital. I'm going to the emergency room." She's like, "Oh my god, why?" And he's like, "I broke my back." And she's like, "Oh my god, how?" He's like, "From carrying this conversation."
Damn.
Uh, because like a lot of people, I think it's like guys and girls, but there's just a lot of the people on these apps that aren't actually, I guess, interested in meeting somebody or whatever. So they're like, they just like the ego boost, I guess, of matching with somebody and like talking
Yeah.
to them. Like I had somebody who I still don't fully know if he was interested in me or not, but he Snapchatted me like every day for 2 months. But then I'd say, hey, let's meet up, and he'd always be busy. But then he
Mhm.
wanted to keep the snap streak going, and I was like, okay, are we friends then? But he still wouldn't be able to meet up. But like we weren't fucking, so I'm just like, what do you want from me? Just to keep a
Yeah.
snap streak going with me?
Yeah. Like, what are we doing here? What is this? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to
like
keep
I
my
like,
snap score high. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I liked him, but I was like, what is this? And I've
Yeah.
learned. It took me 30 years, but I finally learned don't chase people. Like if somebody's
Yeah.
interested in you, ideally they would show that. So if I have to figure out how you feel, I'm not going to bother.
Mhm.
Um, so I will
So
say I don't think it's just about the women. Honestly, having been a woman, and a
for
lot
a
of these
little bit,
guys,
because she shot her dick off. Yeah.
right? I shot my dick off. So now that I've only been a woman for a couple weeks, and then tomorrow, I get my balls removed on Thursday. So I think that'll
Yeah.
be. But speaking as a preemptive woman, no, there's a lot of dudes on apps that I'm just like, why are you here? Like I
Yeah.
honestly wonder if a lot of these people are married and they just want the validation, and that's why they don't ever want to meet up, but they'll just talk to you. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
I don't like talking to people, like texting people. Why would you waste people's time like that? Like that's not fun. Is that fun for people? Maybe some people do prefer just staying online. I always
Maybe.
prefer doing stuff in person. I would rather call a friend on the phone or do a Skype or video call
Mhm.
than text them and ask
Yeah.
them how they're doing and whatever. Like it's I don't know.
Yeah. It's
My
weird.
pussy.
Ball. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah.
I I
I mean,
didn't
it's weird.
I didn't know what that was until recently, and it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Uh
Speaking of the validation thing, though, I did see this. There's a guy on. Well, he posted the video on TikTok too, but So he basically did this experiment, and it starts out with these girls who are like bigger influencers on like Instagram and stuff, and they're talking about how there was this guy that would send her a message every day that said, I think it was like "Good night, Queen" or something like that. And it was like every day for like a long time. And then this other chick saw it and she like responded to it. She goes, "Oh my God, this guy did the same thing to me." And there was like a couple different women. They all had the same thing. This guy would message them the exact same time every night and say, "Good night, Queen." They never responded to him. They never talked to him. And then one day he just stopped. And they were like, "What the fuck? Why are you not still messaging me? What did I do wrong? Why did you just stop? Like, did you find somebody?" All this stuff. And so they're really fucking curious, but then they realized that it actually was like validating for them to get that response every day and just have that interaction.
Honestly, like,
yeah.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, and then all of a sudden one day this video pops up. The guy goes, "So I'm the guy." And he goes, "And I was running an experiment and I created a chat bot on Instagram and I found these different female influencers that were all single. And I had the bot set every day at the exact same time to send this message. And then I had him set to stop at the specific date, which was around the holidays, because single people are the most at their lowest around the holidays. Because he's like, I wanted to see if they would respond. So obviously this guy's is probably a sociopath. But
right.
the fact that he put all that work into it because he wanted to test how this actually interact and how that actually acted. Because like he's like, they could have ignored it. They could have blocked the guy, anything, but they didn't. They wanted the validation of like knowing consistently there's some guy that's interested in me, but like I'm not going to talk to him, but it's nice to know that he's there. And when he stopped, like they were like, "Oh, this actually bothers me," because he had been so dedicated for so long. Why would you just stop all of a sudden?
I mean, that's interesting. And honestly, like that was one of the reasons when my friends were like, "Why are you still talking to this guy?" And I was like, there was part of it that was comforting to have like expecting a snap from him every day around 5 p.m. when he gets off work and like a brief conversation. Like it was kind of nice to have that like check-in every day. But it also was a little bit weird because I did like him. So it's like it kind of hurt where I'm like, you're giving me attention, but I have a feeling like you're just there to be there. Like he'd ask me how I was, I'd give him an answer, and then I'd ask him how he was, or I'd ask him a question about him and he'd give me a 2-word response. Yeah. But then you keep messaging me every day. So I'm like, I can't tell what's happening. I don't know if it doesn't seem like you're interested, but then you keep messaging me, but you don't want to meet up. So I don't know what's happening. Anyway. So yeah, it's that. Yeah. This is the part that's kind of gross. Like waiting till people are at their lowest for an experiment. Like that's the thing is like, I understand like an interesting whatever, but like I also people, I don't know this man's intention. I honestly don't think it was an experiment. I think he was just trying to hurt people because maybe he was hurt, like he couldn't get laid, so he just wanted to hurt women or something. But I've talked about this before, but when I got catfished before by a guy, like I had just gotten out of Crazy Lady Horse Camp and I was trying to be like, okay, the world is not as scary as I thought it was. And like people are not all assholes and they're not all going to hurt you. Like this is a new leaf. I'm going to get back into online dating and I'm going to try to find love and it's going to be okay. And then the very first guy that I get like a date with ends up unmatching with me an hour before the date. And then I was like, what the fuck happened? Like, he's the one that day was like, all right, we're still meeting up. Great. Awesome. So it's not like I was like not reading the signs and he was trying to like ghost me. He just literally was like right up until he unmatched with me. He's like, great. Awesome. See you then. And then unmatched with me. And I was like, I was so painful because I was like, this makes no sense. Why would somebody do this? Like, did he accidentally drop his phone and unmatch? So I still showed up to the date just in case because I figured I'm like, he probably won't be there, but I'll just get ramen either way. But just in case he accidentally did it, we could still meet up. And obviously, you know, he didn't. And then like 6 months later, when I was scrolling my bears of Instagram, as I do, I found the real guy and somebody had just used his pictures. And like, this person wasn't trying to get money out of me. They weren't trying to get me to like go to a cam website. They were just trying to fuck with people. Yeah. And like, so obviously I got off the apps for like another year because I was like, oh, too soon after trauma camp, right back into the hole.
She just turns around and walks back into the horse.
I just walk back to the horse. I'm like, ooh, and the horse is like, tell me what happened.
Yeah, well, she's back.
That guy with the ghosting fetish.
Yeah. Well, he did
That's
that. I made that joke actually, where he's like, the closer he can get to the date, the better. He's like, oh
He's
man,
like,
an
"Ooh,
hour.
yeah,
She
ooh,
checked in
yeah,
an hour beforehand.
oh, it feels so good."
Normally it's
He's just edging.
yeah, it's like normally it's the morning of, never a whole hour before. He's this is the best one yet. Oh man.
This is what I wonder, if these dudes are just married and just want to know, like, am I still attractive? Can I still match with women? And
Yeah.
it's really frustrating, because I had that worry, so then I stalked him. Because I was like, am I talking to a married guy? So then I used, because he never gave me his last name, but I know how to find people. Like, I had given him private information about me, so I'm like, well, now I need collateral. So if he ever decides to do whatever, I know where he lives now.
You're doing wonders for your dating life right now. If you
Listen,
ever message me, and I'm gonna look you up because I'm gonna
no,
know.
no, no, no. I'm gonna, if I have questions about you, like if your stories aren't consistent or whatever, I'm gonna be like, and my dad was an information officer in the Air Force. I have my ways, so like I'm always gonna be like, well, who are you? So I can make sure, are you who you say you are? Are you married? Like, so I found him on Facebook. I didn't friend him, but I just kind of made sure. And on his profile, it said he's single, and like all of his friends interact with him there. And I don't see pictures of a woman there. And I just feel like on your Facebook, you'd probably have pictures of your wife, or else your friends would be like, that's weird. So I assume he's not married. But I don't know. Maybe my thought was maybe there was a girl that he liked more. Like maybe he talked about his best friend once and she was a female. And I was like, oh, he's probably in love with his best friend. And like, he's just biding his time on these apps.
He just a friend. Yep.
So I'm thinking that's my theory. I have no proof, but in my head, I'm just like trying to think of like, why would somebody kind of keep me around? Because I could understand if we were boning, that would make sense. Like if it's just like a fuck buddy, but like we weren't even doing that. So I'm like, what do you want from me?
No.
So yeah, but I at one point I did accuse him of being a mega secret. I'm like, are you like secretly like a mega church pastor who's married and has 2 kids? Why are you so secretive? Are you like why the international man of mystery thing? Because I made it into a joke because that's how I try to bring up conflict. But he's like,
respond.
No, he was just like, no, I just don't talk about my feelings because I'm a man. Like, he made a joke about it too, but I'm just like, I'm not asking you to talk about your feelings. I'm literally asking you to tell me anything about you. Yeah. Like in 2 months of talking, he never revealed any personal information.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like,
he's probably
not even like,
oh, he's testing himself. He's like, can I be really interested in this girl and see how long I can talk to her before she either breaks me or I break her? Yeah.
Maybe it's for the best. Like I've been tempted to like message him just to be like, are we like what's like, just be like, hey, if you were serious about wanting to be friends, like I'm happy to be friends too. Like because I liked him as a person.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to, but you never talk. I don't know. I don't know. So
you just message him and then he'll be like, and then you'll get like a FBI agent show up at your house. Like, hey, yeah.
We need you to stop using government software to stalk your internet dates. We get it, but like it's
also,
not a good use of our time.
Yeah, he's a federal agent, and we need you to stop.
So that's actually why he was so secretive. He actually was an international man of mystery. And when he said it, like the whole time he wanted to get close to me, but he's like, I can't.
Yeah.
She can't know. I love her so much.
He's like choking a guy out and like strangling him to death. And he's like reading his phone. He's like, oh, she really wants to know about me. And the guy's like, he's like, I can't tell her. If only I could tell her.
He's just like, oh. Yeah. So what if she stole his phone and deleted your profile and told him it's with either her or you? So that's the thing is I was thinking like, this is the catfish guy. I was thinking like he has kids, or it said in his profile that he did. But the real guy definitely does not, because the real guy is very, very gay. But I didn't know that at the time. So this guy, I was thinking, okay, maybe his kids were playing with his phone and accidentally unmatched. That's why I showed up to the date just in case, because I was like, okay, well, if you unmatch with somebody, there's no way to get it back. So there's no way to get in contact. So I was like, you know what? Maybe he'll show up. Like maybe his kids did it, or like you said, like maybe his ex showed up and was like, bitch, blah, 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 like, whatever. Or maybe he is married. And if he is married, I dodged a bullet. But then 6 months later, I found out, no, this guy, some asshole just decided to take a chubby gay bear model like a leather daddy from the gay community who's like lives in LA. And he's from Chile, and he's very in love with his boyfriend, and has pictures all over his Instagram of him in like leather gear. They obviously didn't use those. They used the ones where he looked straight and did not have his boyfriend in the pictures.
Yeah,
But
man was like, I couldn't figure it out, and all the pictures are of like him and another dude wearing leather together, and she's like,
that
he's
would
just really close with his best friend. I don't get
yeah,
it.
that's his roommate.
Yeah, they're just
He
roommates.
likes hanging with his bros and like leather, like I don't know. And that this one's kind of sad to me because I know that there are a lot of people who are like this, where it's like some guys worry that once the mystery's gone, the girl will lose attraction. I will say unhealthy people probably would. There's a lot of people who emotional unavailability is all they grew up with, so it's all they know. And a lot of us, men and women, we go with what we're comfortable with. We don't realize that that's not necessarily healthy. So I will say a lot of people do like the mystery because they're not actually interested in the person. They're probably more interested in the idea of the person. But you don't want to be with somebody like that anyway. So I used to be somebody who was much more like I was much less talkative on apps. Like I would try to keep it like really short because I used to be myself and I'd just be like this goofy person. I'd ask people like, hey, like if you were in a zombie apocalypse, like which one would you be? Would you be the one who got eaten first or would you be the guy like protecting everybody or like the medic? And like they unmatched with me right away. I was like, oh, okay. That was in LA. But I learned to not be myself. And just because I was like, I don't want to scare these people away. But I should have understood that the right guy would find that funny. And it's okay if 90% of the guys don't like it and unmatch with you. Because you'll find the one guy who's like, I like your brand of weird. Yeah. It vibes with mine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I shouldn't be giving advice until I'm like, I feel like a lot of the dating coaches online aren't married, but they'll give advice and like they'll charge people, money to get dating advice. I'm like, you should probably work on that first. But I will say it's harder. It's a numbers game, but also don't play the numbers game because if you're playing the game of I'm trying to appeal to as many people as possible, it's kind of like what I'm doing with my art, right? Like with my comedy. I'm trying not to do stuff just because it's going to be like, oh, well, this is a TikTok trend. I'm like, I'm going to do it if I find it funny and if I like it. And if people like it, they'll come to me. They'll find me. Like, we'll find each other. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be somebody who has 2 million followers. I probably will never be that person. I don't think my stuff appeals to that many people, but the people it appeals to, it'll very much appeal to. Mm-hmm. So, go on the MGTOW route, I guess. It's like you just walk into the woods alone and stay away from everyone.
Yeah.
I know, but I want babies. I guess I could like plant them in the ground like Cabbage Patch Kids.
That's true. You could, and then you go to jail. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's murder.
Yeah. Yep.
So like, you can't. So if you bury a smaller baby, it won't grow into a bigger baby.
She's like, I'm making baby trees. And
yeah, it's a baby plant.
It's a baby tree. I'm a little bit retarded.
I love retarded. It's like the seed. It's like the seed. From from a tomato, right? You take the seed from there, so it's like taking the seed from my womb and putting it in the ground to grow more seeds. Jesus Christ! Oh, okay, the zombie solution. Yeah,
I would be the first real clear because she did not go in that direction at all.
No, I went into the route of me wearing this, going to the woods, becoming the witch I've always been destined to be, and then burying children in the woods, and then becoming my own legend.
You're just collecting seed and men's seed and pouring it in like a garden, and then a baby's born, like little plant babies. Yeah,
that's kind of an interesting, weird, creepy like short story. I'm gonna write that down. I always have to write down ideas because I'll never remember them, so I just write down like I literally have. Sketch about have you tried I wrote sketch about have you tried euthanasia about it? Karen who organizes racist rallies. I have Atlanta translator. Black foreign exchange student in a blacker home. Like I just have I'll write like a sentence and then hope later I remember it. And usually I do. I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what that was about. What were we just talking about? Oh, the growing babies. Growing babies in the that actually feels more like a creepy thing. Where like I'm sure there's a way I can make it a story, but yeah, no, I think I just need to just accept it and just get off the apps and just become a witch because I'm getting really into like herbalism and stuff, and honestly, I used to think it was like crap. I was like, but now I'm like, oh, if I make it myself, I notice a difference. Like it's like I can control the quality of it. I can grow the shit in my own yard. So now I've gotten obsessed with like making my own like capsules. Like I didn't realize it was that easy. You can just like take stuff and put it in a capsule and just boop, and now you have like a medicine bottle. I'm like, I'm making my own apothecary. But then one of the things I made, it was like a sleepy time tincture. Well, I'm making the tincture now. That takes a couple weeks. So you like put it in alcohol and then over time, then you can put it in a dropper. But I made tea from those same things, and I had the worst nightmares. I don't usually get nightmares anymore. like a lot of my PTSD is gone, but I had a horrible nightmare after drinking one of those. So I was like, oh fuck, I guess herbalism's like, I don't know why I would think it's not a thing. Clearly, like if you can do weed and have a mental effect, like other things that grow out of the ground can have mental effects on you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which part of it was. It might have been the valerian root, but I had like a lot of valerian root and a couple other things in a tea that I put.
Made a bad batch. Yeah.
I guess I did because like that
Or
night
you
I was
tapped into dark magic. Yeah. Really.
I might have been wearing this and just like doing an incantation because like normally sleep stuff does not help me.
Yeah, she's like I don't understand why it was acting all weird. I sacrificed a small bird. I dipped its blood in at midnight. Blah blah blah. I had bad dreams. What's going on with that? Yeah.
No, it was horrifying. Like I watched a man shoot himself. Like that was what I like in the dream. I was like trying to stop him, and I saw him do it in front of me, and I like woke up and I couldn't get back to sleep. But then the next day, after having like 3 hours of sleep, I was actually more refreshed than I've ever been in my life. I don't know what it was, but
wow.
So I bought this cauldron. You know, people don't realize how stylish cauldrons are. They're just misunderstood. Yeah, like I have like a broom that like just a broom with like an engine on it back here, and I'm just like, all right, guys, got a jet. What the fuck is happening?
Also, I like how it was. Yeah, she's like, oh, I just dreamed about this guy. He killed himself in my dream, but I felt so energized,
refreshed the next day.
It was wonderful.
No, like it was upsetting because I like woke up and I was like, holy shit, because like I think it's because it put me in a really deep sleep, and I'm not used to sleeping very deeply. I'm a very bad sleeper. So they have something called REM rebound, where if you're sleep deprived long enough, when you finally do catch up on sleep, you get a lot of nightmares because your brain's trying to catch up, like do hyperdrive, like REM cycles, and for whatever reason they tend to be negative. So like that's probably what that was. But I woke up and I couldn't get back to sleep because every time I closed my eyes, I kept seeing him, and so I just ended up being like, well, fuck, I guess I got 3 hours, and nah. But for whatever reason, normally when I get 3 hours, I'm exhausted. But that day I got so much done, like legit grown up shit.
Yeah,
I don't know what. So
keep doing your drops. Yeah,
I guess my drops. But no, now I'm gonna be that mom who's like, all right, put garlic on it, put whatever, you know, fire cider
on your foot, and then go to bed. Yeah,
it'll suck the ghosts out.
Yeah.
No, but I'm obsessed with it now, so I'm just like, you know, and like it's cool to experiment because it's like it's not gonna hurt me. Well, if it's arsenic, it will. But like, you know, for the most part, most of these things I can try different. Yeah, you know, but I'm not fucking with that shit. So like making stuff and seeing it work is pretty cool. Or like being like, I can make a probiotic capsule, or I don't know. I just like the idea of making my own shit and putting stuff in me, ideally, that is like healthy, or at least healthier than like, you know, the stuff the psychiatrist. It's just so funny. The psychiatrist is like, why won't you take what I prescribe you?
Like, because I have this juice that I made at home and it gives me nightmares, but I sleep.
Well, no, it's just that he's like, well, you know, he's like, well, you know, ADHD is a, you know, it can't be fixed. And I was like, well, why do you need to fix it? He's like, well, you should be on it every day. It's like science has shown. And it's just funny that like, I like will fight. It's his job, but I won't take anything he gives me. Yeah. So I'm like, why am I still, I should just say like, hey, I'm not interested in seeing you anymore. Like, cause I think I was going for like a little bit of anxiety stuff. Where I'm like, hey, like for my panic attacks, can I have something for just those acute things? Yeah. But he's just like, take meds. I'm like, no. But then like,
no, I'm gonna go mix dirt in my backyard and I'm gonna drink it.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink dirt, but I won't put what you I only put pure things in my body, like horse shit. I just like, it's organic. This is either the origin story for Amanda curing cancer or giving us all the T virus.
Yeah, there's never any in between.
No. Yeah. The tinctures are for adding to your illegal raw milk cartel. Oh, I'm like full in on this idea that I'm gonna run like a farmer's market table. I don't have animals yet, but I keep being like, I'm gonna get ducks. I'm gonna have duck eggs. I'm gonna have goats.
Talking about the ducks for a while.
I've been talking about it for a long time. Granted, I had to because I'm like, I didn't want to get them over the winter because like I'm not fucking going outside in the winter. It's cold. So I wanted to wait till spring. Also, I wanted to get a brand of ducks called Cayuga ducks. They're really pretty. They look kind of like scarab beetles, or they have like the like iridescent black and green sheen to them, and they're really pretty. And I only like attractive ducks, like just like my man. No, I only want my ducks to look like Alex Jones.
Oh God.
Wow. So, but no, they don't hatch them until like March or like start sending them out. So now I can start planning ahead. And I was like, I need to make a duck house. I have pallets and I have some wood, so I'm gonna see what I can do with it. I haven't made a house before, but I'm gonna try.
Go out there and nail it. Use your magic.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
I'm gonna make a duck enclosure tincture. This will work. Yeah.
Let me see if I can show you.
She's just out in her yard, just like walking around, like
No, there's
I'm
not.
building a duck enclosure, huh?
The females aren't just gray. What are you talking about?
I don't
You
know.
talking about every duck or just cayugas?
Hmm.
Let's see.
Are you looking up the ducks?
Yeah.
All right. I'll keep talking to the chat. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Ben Meerkat says, "Hey, I can't stay for long.
Hey,
Just want to say
Ben.
hi. I hope you're all having a good stream. I'm excited to watch the video on demand later. Yeah, it should be a good time, unless Amanda doesn't unlist it because she's been sharing extremely personal information all stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
But
it
she's
looks like
distracted right now because she's doing something.
No, I hear you.
She can't type and talk at the same time. We're just.
I've said too much, and I'll have to kill all of you. But I'm just distracted right now.
Processing power to look up these ducks.
I'm like trying to. It's like using too much CPU in my brain. I'm like, okay, share screen.
So I just think it's funny to keep talking about it because she'll keep trying to respond because she can't just let it go and just work on it quietly. She's like, I got to participate in what's happening.
Look at those. Aren't those
definitely
pretty?
Boning in that picture.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. Oh yeah, they're definitely boning. Yeah.
No, ducks are like violent boners.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's gonna start. He's about to bite her in the back of the neck, and it's like, yeah.
I mean, he might be about to boner, but then if he is, that proves my point. Then that female cayugas and males are they're not gray, they're just smaller.
Oh wait, no, there's a picture right there. The larger image right below. The female's all gray and gross looking.
No, she's not.
Yeah, look at her. She's ugly. She's hideous. Ew.
I'm gonna fucking murder you.
Ew. Look
you
how
have no
stupid she looks. Like, wow.
You're so dumb.
Stupid, ugly ass looking ducks. Hold on.
But yeah.
I'm looking it up right now. Cayuga females. Yeah, they're all like, yeah, they hardly have any fucking color at all.
I'm gonna fucking murder you, Mike.
They're
Stop.
so stupid. Like they're like hideous.
Stupid and gay.
Yeah.
No, that's peacocks that are all like that, where the women look boring. But with ducks,
Need help
they
sexing Cayuga ducks. That was one of the first things that popped up.
It's trying to figure out whether they're a boy or a girl, because ducks too are confused about their gender. But no, it's because most people only want the female ducks because those are the ones that lay eggs. The male ducks just like raping people, or at least other ducks. So yeah.
Oh, no, you were right, by the way, though. No, I just thought it was funny to mess with you. Yeah, Cayuga males and females have the same coloring. Yep. Apparently, the way you tell the difference is listening to their quack.
Is one of them like, quack, and the other one's like, quack?
I guess.
I'm a duck. I'm a lady duck.
If you want to tell their gender before their males develop their curly tail feathers in around 10 weeks, listen to their quack. Once they start quacking, pick them up one at a time and listen to the sound they make. If it quacks, it's a she.
So male ducks are just the strong silent type?
Yeah, and the females are like really loud and obnoxious, apparently.
Animane said, are they confused about gender because they've been drinking the same water as the frogs?
Yeah. Turn the
frickin' frogs gay! And the ducks!
Yep.
Duck fuckers.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, that's
my... upset she got. She's like, they're not gray. They're the same color. We're like, ew, look at this gray-ass female over here. She's like...
I'm like, we matter too. We're not just all gray.
Female duck lives matter. Yeah.
Oh God, I want to do like not just the dating things where I do the dramatic readings of them. I want to also do the Karen freakouts, but those are actually harder because I'm trying to transcribe them from a video. So like the dating profiles are already written, so I can just read it off my phone. The Karen ones, I'm literally watching a video, trying to pause it every couple seconds, transcribe everything because it's great. Like there's one where this lady hopped this guy's fence. She's like British, and she hopped this guy's fence, and he sees her like wandering in his yard. And he's like, "Hi, can I help you?" And she's like, "Yeah. Well, what's this?" And he's like, "What? The grass. What is it?" And he's like, "It's AstroTurf or whatever." He's like, "Yeah, you. Why?" He's like, "Well, I ripped out the old stuff to put this in because it was easier to maintain." And she's like, "Whoa, why would you do that?" Blah blah blah. And she like goes off on him in his own yard where she hopped the fence to get into. And it's just like really funny. Like it's like, and she's just like, it was better for the birds and the bees and the animals, and you just ruined it. It's been like this for 50 years. And he's like, "Why are you in my yard?" She's like, "Because I was upset. I'm trying to be a good person," or whatever.
I think she's in the UK because that's a good way to get shot.
You get capped here. But like, there's that. There was like one hanging on they were hanging on she was hanging on his mirror because I guess he parked in a handicap spot, which is an asshole thing to do. But she's just like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm waiting till the cops come. And she like hung on his mirror. And she's just like, this is what you get. You know, you deserve to be fined for parking like an idiot. He's like, I'm trying to leave. Get off my car. She's like, no, I'm going to wait till the cops arrest you and give you a ticket. And he's like, why? And she's like, because the ticket helps the potholes. It goes towards the city. She's he's like, really? So you're hanging onto my car because you care about it. She's like, yes, I care about my city and my community and the potholes. And I it's just like these people are crazy. But all that crazy. To say, why was I talking about a Karen though?
Well, you're talking about like a sketch idea that you had.
Shield wall. It's because she was from the UK. Pay attention.
Yeah,
it's what I said. I don't know if she was London, but it was from the UK somewhere.
You're talking about transcribing the Karen videos.
Yeah.
Because you were talking about how you were like doing the ones, you were going to read the ones, but you're like, yeah, the Karen transcribes, you have to stop. So
that's what it was. Okay. What you said when you were like, all female lives matter or whatever like that. It reminded me of the lady who was throwing the candles at Walmart, where she's like, what was it? Do you remember? It was like a year or so ago. She was just in Walmart screaming and throwing candles, being like, Black Lives Matter. Her pussy matters. But then she kept saying my pussy. So she kept alternating between my pussy and her pussy. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, Black lives don't matter. Like, it was just like this whole weird thing. I was thinking about doing that as like a thing.
I think if I remember correctly, that chick has done that before. Like, she had like done that in a bunch of other Walmarts. And then somebody figured out that she had like done this like all over the place. She just was like she was like a traveling Karen.
Wait, really?
If I remember correctly,
that's another sketch idea. A traveling Karen. It's like taking the show on the road.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like the traveling racist thing. When I told you that I lost my clan hood, you're like, is it in your suitcase? I'm like, I'm not a traveling racist. I'm a domestic one. I just stay where I am. I'm not going to come. I'm not going to bring my racism to the people. They're going to come to me.
Yeah. Oh, no, this is a different lady. There was another lady that got in trouble in Walmart for being weird, but she like was known for it. Like, she traveled other places to do this before. This lady, no, she's just crazy. Yeah.
I love it. I love how stupid people are. Had a college student apologize to me yesterday at work for being white while bemoaning the fact that my race was enslaved, even though I descended from free slaves in Jamaica. It's true. It's like, I don't understand why they think I'm somehow, I mean, yes, if we're talking about like redlining or whatever, like we could have a more of an argument of like, yeah, this stuff in the past generation or two has affected the current one, but slavery, it should be like the last thing that like I mean, yes, it was horrible, and also hundreds of years ago there are white people who had slave ancestors. Like, that's how diluted it is at this point because it's been that many generations. So so it's just so fucking dumb that they're like, oh my god, you've struggled and that's why you need a special whatever thing. I'm like, yeah, but I've struggled because of my mental health, or I've struggled because other stuff, not because of my race,
my ancestors.
Right, not because of what happened 200 years ago. I struggle because of my life circumstances, or I struggle like I said, people can struggle because they're short and unattractive, and so they have a harder time getting good pay raises or whatever, or good partners, or like there's all sorts of things that can negatively affect us in this lifetime. So it's just a little frustrating that people will take the most arbitrary things about me and be like, oh, because you're a woman or a person of color, and it's like, those are two things that I had literally nothing to do with. Like, I'm more
we already discussed that you definitely had something to do with you being a woman now, but
oh, that's right. I made that happen. I manifested the getting my balls removed. The gun thing, the blowing my dick off was a total accident, but the balls were definitely I'm just like, well,
that's an intentional
while we're
decision.
At it. So I'll have them put them in like I'll pickle them in part of my witchcraft thing. I'll pickle my balls.
It's a testicle tincture. You really can't get these anymore.
Yeah, it's a testicle tincture. It's supposed to help with fertility or like whatever. It's supposed to, you take a couple drops at night and it makes you more fertile. Testicle tincture. And I'll just have it sitting right here. And then I should just do that anyway. I'll just like get 2 eggs or something, just put them in a jar, just have them sitting here.
There's one of those. There's supposed to be testicles. What? Wow. Knocked her phone down and everything. It's on a stand. How did you knock it over?
Like a cat.
Do you see? She was like, "Oh, you want to see it again?"
Well, you asked me a question. Was it rhetorical? I was just giving you a demonstration.
Could have described it. You didn't have to like.
Why would I do
it
that?
again.
That's extra words. I told you I don't like talking. I like talking. I don't like.
I was gonna say, don't say you don't like
people.
talking. We've all been here for 2.5 hours. We know you
That's
like
true.
talking. Yeah.
It's only effective if you rub it on.
Yeah,
it's like, you got to rub it on with your mouth, sweetheart. That's the only way it works. Just put it in your mouth and just rub it on my dick, and it'll totally make you fertile.
Yeah,
I'm completely Animane's like clipping that good.
Yeah.
It's just fucking funny. Like it. But do you have? Since I know you have to head out soon, I like how you message me privately. Saying, hey, I gotta go soon, and then I let everybody know we're ending because of Mike.
And also, what I said specifically was we should wrap soon, not hey, I gotta go, I can't stay here.
Oh, so he said we should wrap soon because he doesn't want to be here. He's like, I don't even have to go anywhere. I just don't want to keep doing this.
If you want to throw me under the bus for the chat, that's fine. Okay. I like to help Amanda because sometimes she's like, oh, I haven't eaten all day and I'm dying. But then she'll say that just as she starts the stream. And then she's like, oh, like somebody said earlier, she'll say she's hungry and then talk for another hour and a half. And we're like, hey, we should really help you get some food so you can eat and be healthy. And she's like, uh-huh, yeah. So anyways. And then,
what was that Animane said earlier? He was like, oh, yeah, be real. That is your life story. Person, do this thing. It'll help you. Amanda, no, I will do what I want.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, why is it not working?
Why is it not working? Yeah.
Like people will try to help and I'm like, not that help. I don't know.
I'm coming to you to get help. And somebody's like, well, try this. And she's like, go fuck yourself. I'll do it myself, but I'll be back here next week for more advice. Thank you.
Yeah. That would be funny. If my therapy sessions were just me like being combative the whole time, but then being like, thank you so much. I'm just learning so much.
I'll see you next week. Namaste.
She's just exhausted every time she's done with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually feel
I didn't listen to any of your stupid fucking advice. But
yeah, idiot.
Yeah.
No, actually, she's pretty good. The funny thing is she's very ADD, so it's actually really frustrating because both of us interrupt each other all the time, and you both can tell that we're both wanting to talk, but we're just waiting till the other person's done. So it's really funny. I actually had to talk to her about it at one point because I was like, "Hey, I don't know how to say this, but sometimes I feel like we interrupt each other, and I don't want to, whatever." And I was like, do you think maybe you have ADD? She's like, oh yeah, no, I do. I was like, oh. And so that helped me so that I know she's not being rude.
Yeah.
And also it helped us to talk about it because now it's like, oh, cool. So we both know that if we're interrupting each other, or you can tell that we're like, I just want to talk. I want to talk. It's not like, shut up. It's more like, oh, I'm excited and I want to add on to what you said. And I just can't like hold my whatever. So like now it's a little bit better. But for a while I was like, why is she always interrupting me?
Mm-hmm. Oh. My feelings are hurt.
Yeah, like my fifis. But yeah, anyway. Is the he and the wait, I'm having trouble keeping this straight. Who's the he and the she among your shrinks? Oh no, I have like my therapist, my talk therapist, she's a she. But then the psychiatrist that I went to, but then I need to just tell them, hey, take me off your schedule or something. Cause like they'll be like, all right, we're scheduling for 3 weeks out. And I'm like, I'm like, oh well, I guess I have to meet with them. I don't know.
Yeah, like, I didn't listen to anything you said the last time.
I didn't fill the subscription you sent me.
Yeah, and I'm not going to. So like,
but
fucked.
I guess.
But I'll see you next week. Yeah.
But yeah, I'll see you next time. Why are my problems not getting better?
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. I've never stuck with anything for very long, like medication wise or or even like, I mean, unfortunately, like even diet wise, I'll stick with anything for 2 to 3 months and then I go, that's a lot of work. So that's why I'm not where I want to be.
How far are we into this podcast? How far into this are we? I haven't had to like convince her to not end it yet, but I think we're well past that at this point. So you guys should feel special that she's stuck with it this long.
Are you convincing me to end
4 months ago?
Mike?
Look at that. 4 months ago, guys. Wow.
What? Wait, what's 4 months ago? Because you said
only stick. We've been doing this for 4 months now.
That still doesn't actually feel like that long. Only 4 months? No, it's got to be longer than that because
I'm looking right. I mean, it says 4 months ago.
Have we only had 16 episodes? Because isn't it only four weeks a month? So I feel like we've had more, but
no. I'm looking at it right now. I mean, this says 4 months ago. This was I'm trying to figure out the exact date. I don't know what the exact date is. I don't know. October 18th, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So
So now that you've just reminded me that I've stuck with it, now I have to
it's
quit
been like
it.
6 months that we've been doing it, but I don't know. Hold on, wait a minute. October to now? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, we've stuck with it for a while now.
No, and I think I'm finally hitting a stride here in a way. Like I was trying to do like a video every Saturday and a live stream every Tuesday. Clearly I've kind of dropped the video a little bit just because I don't have time to do everything I want to do, especially when I'm trying to make some short form stuff. But I think eventually, once I'm able to find a way to monetize my life that's not having a day job or whatever, then I can probably dedicate more time to it. But you know,
you should be proud of Amanda. She stuck with us this long.
That's true. I did. Because I would say the first time I started putting out stuff, I don't know. Because I think I started the channel in like what, 2021? Like end of 20. Yeah, I think it was like end of like November 2021 or something like that. And I didn't really post much. I think maybe I posted one thing, but I think I didn't start posting until January, if I'm correct. So I posted in January, and then I think I stopped around when my grandmother died in like May. So really that was 5 months that I was posting, and then I dropped off for like 6 months.
Yeah.
So really, we might just be hitting the next stride of like in a month I'll just drop off the face of the earth. I don't think so though, because I get too much. I get enjoyment out of hanging out with everybody and just.
She gets a sick obsession about watching me every week. Have to stop her from just saying the most heinous things on the internet that she can think of. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I shouldn't use my grandmother's death as like the whole reason. That was kind of what threw me out of my routine, and because I need like routine helps me. When I get out of my routine, it's just hard to get back in. So like and then being international because I had to go to the funeral, and it was in France. It's different time zones, so like that kind of threw me off too. So then I wasn't sleeping and blah blah blah. And then eventually I'm just like, like trying to like get the excitement up to film stuff. Yeah, was hard. So
she was having a hard time getting it up. Yep.
I couldn't get it up. So that's why I shot my balls off. Or no, I shot my dick off.
Yeah.
Because I was mad at it.
Let's keep the story consistent here. You shot your dick off with a shotgun. A stove shotgun, because gas stoves are extremely dangerous. Yeah.
But, see, it's a catch-22 because I'm like, if I had done the testicle tincture, maybe I could have gotten it up. But I couldn't have made the testicle tincture without chopping off my own testicles.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, because you got the idea for chopping off your testicles because your dick got shot off. It's kind of it's a cycle.
It's a cycle, so it's like it's not like I could have. I guess I could have had somebody else's testicles. I could have pulled a Dahmer, but I don't think I'd fare very well in prison.
Well,
I have
as we talked about, most guys don't want to meet in the first place to get their balls chopped off. Maybe that's why you've been having
Maybe
trouble.
That's why they don't want to meet because they know I'd chop their balls off for a testicle tincture.
I was getting a weird vibe. Like they're talking to their friends. They're like, I like her. I like talking to her. But I have this weird vibe that if I meet her, she's gonna chop my testicles off. I don't know, man. I just have these weird dreams lately about it. I took some of my tincture, and I had a bad dream about her chopping my balls off, and that's what's really going on.
Yeah. It probably doesn't help in my profile that I say I will cut your balls off.
Yeah, she's like,
it's just
definitely
me
not a serial killer, but I will cut your balls off.
It's me hunching over a cauldron wearing this, just being like at the camera as if like hissing like somebody like caught me and took a photo of me, and that's my dating profile pic.
Yeah, aspiring witch. My tinctures help me sleep. Like, not a serial killer, but we'll definitely cut your balls off. So.
Oh God, that would be really funny.
Yeah,
I should maybe make a joke account and then see who gets more. I mean, my normal account's already a joke account, but we should probably see who gets more attention. Like the witch, who's just
she's
like...
Guys are like, wow, that's pretty hot. Wow.
And just like different pictures of me as like a witch / like as a Amanda the Black Widow. Like, yeah, literally like just me, and like I'll see if I can find like an old timey house in Georgia and just look like an old timey ghost, or like Sarah Winchester, and there'll just be pictures of me like turning and looking over my shoulder as I like walk into another room. Like it'll just be like creepy,
like half faded and everything. Yeah.
And
then like most of the messages are just like, hey, are you serious about that dick chopping thing? Because like,
I'm into that.
Just wondering. Yeah, just curious.
I won't cut off your balls if you have a nice beard, though. That's fair. And maybe I don't know exactly how biology works, but I'm pretty sure you need your balls to be able to grow your beard because it's testosterone, right? So your balls will be in touch. That sounds like your balls will be in touch with my balls. My people will call your people.
Yeah.
Our balls will touch. Anyway, no, but it sounds like they'll knock back and forth like those things in an office.
Oh,
They'll just sit on a desk. But no, because like if your balls get cut off, you'd probably stop growing a beard, I imagine.
No, that's not how that works.
Aren't your sex hormones created in your testicles?
Like, but men.
Oh yeah.
You're not gonna lose your fucking confident. Beard because you don't have your balls.
Yes. Okay. So if you start taking estrogen, doesn't your body start to change? You start getting bigger boobs, and you start like having more female things.
Yeah. And if you take estrogen.
Right. So I'm saying if you lack a certain hormone that gives you those characteristics,
you would stop getting those things. You don't stop producing testosterone.
Where is it made then? I thought
women produce testosterone in their bodies either. You guys don't produce testosterone in your balls.
But don't we produce like what is it? Gonads? Oh God, my biology. This science was one of my weak points. So I thought my like estrogen and like all my hormone, like my female or like estrogen, progesterone, all that stuff, I thought that was made in my ovaries, which are basically lady balls just inside. So technically, wouldn't your hormones be made in your...
Testosterone is a hormone that your gonads mainly produce. But it's not the only one.
You are so fucking technical. Mainly. So I was mainly right. So if you lost your balls...
Mainly right. But you're not going to just fucking... Your beard isn't going to fall out because you don't have balls.
You don't know that. If suddenly your body does not have the testosterone coursing through it, wouldn't... Like, you lose your fucking hair because of hormone changes. Why wouldn't you lose your fucking beard?
You know, your hair will continue to grow. It may not be as thick and heavy as it once was, but it will not terminate. Come on.
That's basically...
I just fucking looked it up. Now, listen, your hair thinning out isn't your hair falling out. Just thinning a little bit.
That's what it is!
Thinner. No,
that's
you just
what it is!
You're like, oh, if your balls fall off, your hair just falls out with it. Your beard's like gone.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say like right away. I'm saying like over time.
You just wake up one day and it's just gone, and you're just like, I don't have a beard anymore.
No, that's not what I said. You're like extrapolating. I said you would not have a big. Did you learn that from your
fucking therapist or your psychiatrist?
Which one? The word extrapolating?
Yeah,
no, I just guessed it from Latin.
Gotcha. I put words.
I just put words together.
She's not even like she didn't even know that was a word. She just like.
Just grabbed it from the air, just put it together. Yeah. The hair migrates to the beard. So I've actually heard that. I've heard that if you have excess testosterone, that is actually what makes men bald. But I heard that that also makes them like it's like they lose their hair here, but then they have a big old beard.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, so you're not confident about that one, but you're very confident about the other things that you were mostly wrong about.
I wasn't mostly wrong. I just looked it up. You don't just your beard doesn't just fall out.
When people say your hair is thinning, it's because your hair is falling out, dipshit.
They said it gets like softer.
No, it said it thins. It thins, so meaning like you might go from your beard to like a little creepy like peach fuzz.
The implication was your balls fall off, your beard falls off.
I didn't say like right away, but I'm like, yeah, you probably would not be able to produce an epic beard. Your hair is not like on you forever. So like if my hormones change, like that's why pregnant women, their hair can fall out. Their hair can go from curly to straight or straight to curly. Like your hair is a constantly growing whatever thing. So like if your hormones suddenly change, your hair that grows out of your eyebrows or your face or your head or your pubes will start to change. That was not an inaccurate assessment. The horse told me what? That horses that your balls will fall off, or no, if your balls fall off.
No,
your
beard. Extrapolating was the horse there.
Gave me the word.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I will die on this hill. That I'm not a biologist, but I'm pretty sure if most of your male hormones are created in your balls, you'll lose a lot of things that make you look male. That just makes sense to me. Hell, isn't that? You know what? Fuck you, Mike. Can eunuchs grow a beard?
I don't know. I'm not a eunuch. I have huge balls.
Look it up.
All right.
Because I'm pretty sure they made them so that they would be like non-sexual, non-masculine. They'd just be these kind of androgynous looking, like undesirable things that could not fuck the women.
Okay, here we go. This is on the Healthy Journal. Castrati could, in their younger years, pass for women. They grow beards. They're often shaped like women, developing secondary sexual characteristics of women. But they can grow beards. Yeah.
I think you added that last part in.
Nope.
None of that sounds like it makes any sense to me.
They said They said if they're younger, like castration before puberty prevents the shift from boy to man. One of the scientists involved in the study explained that the records say that eunuchs had some women-like appearances, such as no mustache hair, large breasts, big hips, and a high-pitched voice. But they did that when they were younger. They didn't do it when they were like old people.
Well, yeah, because I don't really know. I don't really know if now they castrate that many people. I don't think they have that much data to collect on it. I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe I'm just going off of movies, which is not very helpful. But I'm just thinking, anytime I've seen a eunuch in a movie, they're always like the guy from Game of Thrones, like the sassy, bald, gay guy who like is just hairless.
No. Yeah. See, this is the thing is like if it happens at a young age, yes, it would affect them.
You know what you're doing, Mike, though? The whole thing was that Ruby was saying that I will not chop off a guy's balls if it means he has an epic beard. So you're saying go ahead and chop off his balls. Like, I'm literally trying to prove that the balls are linked with the majestic beard. And you're saying, no, they're not. So you're basically saying, have at it, Amanda. Chop off men's balls. You're basically inciting violence, and I hope that YouTube bans you.
Bans me from what? Your channel?
Yeah, just my channel.
Yeah. They're like, you know what? This is what we needed. Like, YouTube's like, we can figure this out. We can connect those two things. Yeah. All right, Maxter, just for you. Amanda, you win.
No, I don't want your pity. Your pity win. I want to win because I won.
That was what made me happy, was because I knew if I was just like, no, you win. You're right. She would have been like, nah, bullshit. Don't give me that. I don't want your fucking pity win. So.
I want you crying and groveling at my feet, being like, "I'm so sorry, I was wrong. Please forgive me." And I look down.
The last guy that was going to do that for you was White Mike, and you killed him. You basically chopped off his digital balls.
He didn't have very big ones to begin with. I didn't have much.
And he didn't have a beard either. So
he didn't. He didn't. So basically, you're saying it's okay if I chop off your balls because you'll still have your beard. So that's all that matters. Is that what you want? You're not saying no.
I don't want you to try to chop off my balls, Amanda.
Okay. I just needed the, confirmation because consent is very important when I'm chopping off a man's balls. Like I just want to know he's into it.
Yeah, that's apparently Matthew Atkinson is an expert on this.
Also, Shield Wall, fucking nerd. He knew exactly. He was clipped at 7 years old for a magic spell. You just knew that right off the top of your head. Well, I guess you could have Googled it, but I'm going to assume that you just knew it. And I don't know what to say. I'm like, because I don't know you. I don't know you in person, Shield Wall, so I don't want to say stuff that actually is like.
Yeah, she doesn't want to like cross that line where you're like, wow, I'm actually offended. And
like I can do that. I can do that with Mike, and I can do that with other people where I'm like, oh, I know that they're not going to take it seriously, but I'm like, I don't want you to be like. Amanda just verbally assaulted me on the internet.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, but I know I looked into it as I played one in a play once. That's an interesting type. They're like, hey.
I know the mind of a eunuch.
Right.
I've been one before.
Well, I'm just thinking like, I don't know what you look like, Matthew, but do you have lady hips? Do you have a girlish figure where they like, this guy looks like a eunuch?
This guy looks like he got his balls chopped off at 7 years old.
At a young age. We're talking a lot about balls.
This is why I try to end these streams like well in advance, because Amanda's like, this stream is like a train, and you have to start the brakes really early to get it to a point where it stops. Because at some point, if I just didn't stop, we would end up in a place where YouTube's like, we have to ban this. We can't let this stay on the internet. So
that's true. Yeah, that's true. As the later it gets, the more offensive it gets. But that's the nice thing, is that this is so deep in the stream, nobody's gonna watch it. So
that's not how that works.
I feel like if you front load it with the more reasonable conversation, making it look like you're not a fucking awful bigot who's gonna cut off people's balls, and then once you're like, the normies are gone.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, nobody's come for me yet. Anyway. I need to I need to just anime husbando or waifu. Mm, I can't actually. I think I said something offensive the other day in the Discord, but I think I said they all look the same. I was
That sounds
like,
racist.
all of them, they animate them all the same. They all have these little pinched noses, the eyes, and then the guys all just look cool, but they just have different colored or shaped hair. So like, actually, are there any bear anime guys? I guess there's Jet from Cowboy Bebop.
Here you go. I probably would. I picked Vegeta for mine because we did one last week on Weebs and Waifus, and I picked Vegeta because he's actually like an actual dad and like likes his kids and like obviously like Bulma enough to bang her twice and give her 2 babies. Yeah.
Also, I think he's trying to make up for that receding hairline or something, but he just seems like he'd be an animal in the bedroom. Like
100%. Yeah. Well, I mean, frick, he had a tail at one point, so he's got like he's probably a straight up animal. Well, and then I will say this: I didn't get to use this argument because he lost to Guts from fucking Berserk or whatever, and I was like, damn, well, like I don't know how you beat that, but like he fought a god for his wife because the god disrespected her.
That's kind of hot.
Beerus, he was like, bitch, blah 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 blah, and he was like, you don't. I think if I remember correctly, he like knocked her aside or something like that, and like Vegeta like straight up lost his shit and was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And they're like, dude, do you not realize how much powerful this is? He's like, I don't give 2 fucks and a half. Like, it's over. This guy's gonna fucking die. Yeah, I mean, he got his ass kicked, but like he actually like went like, yeah, he actually like straight up was like went to like some next level shit. And I was like, you know what? I could see why Bulma would be like, yeah, that's like, I'm into that. Yeah. He was like fucking furious. Yeah.
There's always in that. So pay attention, men. There's a fine line for women where like I think deep down, I know some women say, I don't need protection. I think we all want to know that somebody like cares about us enough to protect us from, other people or the elements or whatever. Like they just care or whatever. But we don't want them to like fight people necessarily, but we want to know that you could. Like if somebody was actually threatening our life, we want to know that you'd go ape shit and like protect us. But we don't want you to be that guy who's just going to fight somebody just to fight somebody. Just like, don't get your ass killed. Like, don't be like, what'd you say? Do you disrespect my woman? Like, I think it's so hot when a guy can use his like energy to be like, I'm going to give you a second to take that back. Like, it's just, I don't know, whatever that big dick energy is, where it's like, we're all aware that this man could beat them up, but he's choosing not to. That's like the sweet spot. I was out with some friends the other night. We went to go see a play, and then afterwards we went to go to get food, and there was this drunk guy, and he was just like, he had like dreads and like a septum piercing. I guess he was like a black hippie or something, but he was just kept yelling, and he was just like, fuck, blah, fuck these people, blah, 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 in the restaurant. And he was with his girlfriend, and she was like embarrassed, but he kept like bumping into people and just being obnoxious. And so at one point he like touches my friend and is like, hey, am I being annoying? She's like, yeah, actually. He's like, I'm so sorry. I love her so much. I'm trying to propose, and this is my girl. I love her. I love having sex with her. I love everything about her. She's so great. And, like, and she's just like, the whole restaurant's hearing this, and he's talking to my friend Brian, and my friend Brian is funny because he's gay as hell, but he also is like hood as hell. So it's funny because you never know, like when looking at him, you wouldn't necessarily know that he's gay. So like the guy like kind of was like, we good, bro. We good. Because Brian just had this look on his face like, am I going to have to beat your ass? Yeah. So it's funny. So he's like, I'm sorry. And then he goes back, and the moment we turn our backs, he's like, fuck, he's just like yelling again. We're just like, oh my God. Like he was annoying everybody. At one point he turns around and he bumps into this black girl behind him at another table. And she turns around and she was like, hey, he's like, I'm so sorry. And he kind of kept touching her. She's like, please don't touch me. Like she was, she was better than I would have been. I would have been like, and just kind of like not wanted to hurt his feelings, even though he was bothering me. But she was like, don't touch me. Please don't touch me. He's like, I'm so sorry. I just, and it was funny because her guy, I was thinking like, why is her guy being so passive? But I look over, and it was so interesting because he's just sitting there, and like, it's like covered up, but he's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Like that. But the look was actually really interesting. Because it wasn't, I don't know, man. It wasn't.
Really, she was like, damn.
I was turned on. I was like, damn. Because like it was one of those looks where it was almost like he was giving her a second to resolve it, being like, all right, she seems like she's got it. But he wasn't being passive. because I've had passive guys before and I hate it. But like, it was just a really hot, like, in 5 seconds, this man was about to get up, but it was just so funny. He was like in warm up mode.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a gear up mode. Like, okay, I'm gonna let her handle this, and I'm gonna give her the what is the word? Like the wow, I can't think of the word right now. But like basically give her the ability to like try to handle it and cool, because if we step in, so that it's funny because that actually happened one time. It wasn't with my wife, but it was with my kids. We were at like a mall and they had like this giant like play structure, and there's like a bunch of kids there that day. And I remember my son and my daughter were playing, and this little boy kept like following my daughter around, and like she was like, I don't remember. I think he was like getting on her nerves or whatever. But at one point, she was trying to climb something, and he like pushed her, and I was like, "That's one. That's it. Like we're done here." And then he hit her like twice, and I looked at my wife, and she got up and she was like, "Hey, knock it off," or whatever. And she like grabbed him and like mama beared him and like drug him over to his mom and was like, "Hey, blah 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 blah." And I was like, "Thank you so much for handling that, because it's going to look a lot different." Yeah, this is going to look a lot different when a guy that's like 10 times bigger than him goes like, "Put your fucking hands on my daughter again, and I'm going to break your arms." Because like,
I'll rip your balls off.
I'll chop your little nuts off. You'll grow up.
You'll never grow a beard.
You'll never have a beard. But like, yeah, it's like one of those things. Like you're like, okay, cool. This is going to, because like sometimes based on your anger level, like I'm going to take it to a certain place, and I don't necessarily want to go there. Because like even like working at a bar, that sometimes happens. Because like the lady that I work with, a female and like another guy, we work like 3 at a time, and she's kind of the like diffuser. We kind of let her handle things, and like if a guy's acting like an asshole or he's like whatever, a lot of times we'll like, "Hey, go talk to her," because she doesn't put up with any shit. But like once it's got to a point where it's physical, we don't send her. She doesn't go. We don't ask her to do anything. We go handle it, because you've pushed it to a point now where like, yeah. And we actually had it happen. I wasn't there that day, but this guy, like she went to like take a guy out of the bar, and he caught her, and there was like an area of the bar where we can't see from the door, and he like slapped her in the face, and we didn't know that this happened. And so like apparently she came around the corner and her face was fucking like beat red. And so the 2 guys that work with her, one of them, he's like a 6'2" fucking like football player. He went outside, found the guy, because the guy was trying to like break back into the bar, and like picked him up by his fucking coat and like took him outside and like pinned him against the wall like in a movie. And like, yeah, then she like basically slapped the shit out of him afterwards and stuff. But like that's the thing, like you typically hope, okay, cool, I'm gonna give her the agency, that's the word, to like handle it. But like in a couple seconds, if this keeps happening, we're gonna have to go somewhere, and it's accelerated now. So now we have to. Now this is going to be violent. Like
I think that's the thing, is it's not that I necessarily want him to be. It's not like I'm like, let me handle it. I could have handled it. I'm like, no, I absolutely would love to just outsource my like I'm like, oh no, protect me, But what it is like he says, we all know chicks think it's hot for a guy to fight for them. So like yes and no. So what I was saying earlier was it's hot to know that you could. Yeah. It's actually not hot, or that you would. It's not hot to see it actually happen, because a lot of times when it happens, it's because the guy's drunk, or because you made it's the wisdom to know the difference. It's like the Serenity Prayer, where it's like, God, give me the courage to beat this man's ass, the ability to beat this man's ass, and and the wisdom to know the difference of whether I should beat this man's ass. Because like, it's not hot when a guy's just a hothead, and you have to be like, baby, no, like that's not.
Don't start
attractive.
Fights and stuff.
Please, it's more like it's
people.
Like, like, but there was one time where like, when I was in California, like one of my friends, a guy broke a beer bottle over this girl's head, and he went up to the guy and just knocked that guy out. Like that's hot. Where he's like, nah, the line goes here. But if it's like, if some guy's just saying something to me, you can say something. Like be like, yeah, no, we're done with that. Like whatever. Like use your words. So like, don't just beat people up.
The point
up.
is like knowing when you need to accelerate it beyond where you're at, like, because like once we get to a point where there's a threshold, okay, like violence has been done or whatever, like you have to take it to that point. But yes, knowing the difference, because I know some guys that are like, yeah, I just like can't wait to fucking fight anybody, and then like other people that are like, listen, we have a limit, and we can work within this limit, but once we get past that threshold, like, I'm gonna beat your ass, and that's where we're at now, you know. And that's the healthy place to be. I think that's healthy. In a way, it's healthy masculinity, because typically guys that are trying to fight are trying to prove something. And it's actually
right.
funny,
They're just like,
because
I would fight anybody, as opposed
yeah,
to I would fight for you because
yeah,
you matter to me, and this person is endangering you, versus just I'm looking for a fight. Like, I'm looking for someone to knock out so I can prove that I got a big old dick, even though I
yeah,
got
that I'm
castrated when I was
tough
a
and
kid and I
everything.
feel insecure about it.
I can't grow a fucking beard because of
I
it.
can't
Yeah.
grow beards. I'm gonna punch you in the
We-
mouth.
We have this guy. Well, that was the thing at the bar that I work at too. We have like this one guy. He's like my height, maybe a little shorter than me, and he's just like this good old boy. He's not a redneck, but he's just like likes country music, and he's super chill. Thing is, people don't realize he was like an all-state wrestler. So this kid like is no joke. And there was a guy that used to come in the bar all the time, and he was like 6'5". He was a massive human being. One time I had to like try to push him out of the bar, and I was like, fuck. This guy's like one of these people. He's just stupid strong for no reason. He doesn't work out or anything. He's just strong as a fucking brick. And there's a video of him at another bar where there's 3 full-size bouncers trying to get him out of the bar, and all he did was he just put his arms on the frame of the door, and they couldn't move him. It took 3 guys to try to drag this guy out the fucking bar. He just left on his own. They
Like a cat, like at the vet, when the cat just like sticks their arms out and won't come out. That's the same approach.
Yeah, and it was terrifying, and I was like, you know, the thing that sucks is like this guy's dumb enough that like, well, because one of the things he used to hit on the lady that I work with all the time, and she would basically just push him off, be like, knock it off, and stuff. And I'm like, I know that if I step in and tell him to stop, he's gonna want to fight, because that's just how he is. He's an idiot, and we always knew that one day he was gonna push it too far. We're gonna have to fucking fight this guy, and nobody wanted to. And I was like, fuck, because he's big as shit, so you gotta like use dirty tactics, hit him in his balls, or like throw sand in his fucking eyes or something. But like, one day he kind of went off, and the lady we work with was like, hey, like, can you please go talk to him? And the young guy goes over and talks to him. The guy got fucking mouth, and he grabbed the guy by his beard, like tried to yank his beard out. And this fucking little dude, who's half his size, folded that dude in half. Like straight up, he threw him into a pool table and like fucking folded him up on the floor, because he's a fucking all-state wrestler. So all he knows is, I know how to take this guy down. Yeah, folded him up and dragged him out the fucking bar. So everyone's like, oh. Yeah, so now he has like the reputation of taking the biggest guy out in the bar. So nobody wants to fuck with him when he works, because everybody knows.
It's prison rules where it's like, oh, you took down the biggest guy here, like respect. We won't mess with you anymore.
It's actually great when he works, because people like the people in the bar go like, you know, that guy fucking folded this dude, and everybody's like, no shit, are you serious? Yeah, I've threatened people with him before. I'm like, listen, it's either me or him, and we already know what he can do. So yeah,
that's interesting. Like, I think that's another reason we don't actually want to see our men fight, because we don't want to be disappointed in knowing that you're a little bitch and you'd be the guy who gets folded.
Yeah.
So we're just like, don't fight. We just want to like imagine that you could be this big strong protector.
Imagine you could beat everyone's ass. Yeah.
But if I see you go into a fight and you just get knocked out cold, I don't know. I'd have a hard time getting it up for a bit.
Yeah. Well, I'd
be laughing a little bit, being like, I remember that time you got knocked out.
Well, that actually reminds me, there was a story I one time found on Reddit of something that some guy had that happen to him one time, where like basically his wife, he found out his wife was cheating, and so one day he like, you know, set it up so you could go catch them in the act, and straight up, like, this was it was sad, but it was funny. He's like, yeah, I went in to confront him, and he was like this massive fucking muscular dude, and people were like, what happened? He's like, no, he beat the shit out of me right in front of my wife. And the worst part about it was, like, he basically said, like, straight up, she left him for this guy. Like, she's still with him. And he's like, it sucked, but like, what am I supposed to fucking do? I couldn't beat this guy's ass, but like, he's like, I'm certainly gonna try. And yeah, he's just like, and I'm like, I feel bad, but at the same time, it's kind of fucking funny to be like, you know, you beat the shit out of me. What are you doing? Are you okay?
There's a wasp or hornet or something that's been flying around this room for days, and I'll see it and I'll hide it. And I've had this sitting by my table, and I finally saw him, and he landed on the window. So I was trying to spray, because it's like a stream and it goes like 20 feet, and now I've just messed up my whole window. I got him, and he fell down by the printer.
But he'll die.
Probably not.
I mean, if you hit him, he's gonna die.
Yeah, but I think he also might be playing the long game. He might be playing possum, so that I come over to him, and then I'll get close, and then he'll jump up and just stab me in the brain. I don't know why my brain's here. My brain's
your brain's
there.
down here. No, your brain's down here.
That's why my cheeks are so full, because it's so full of brains. I'm so smart. It's overflowing into my cheeks.
I tried to end the stream like so long ago.
I know, it's fine.
For your sake.
Listen, y'all are gonna miss me when I get my balls removed next week, and I can't come on. Yeah. So this is. Yeah, no, absolutely. Time to bounce. Not worth.
You walk in like I caught you with. Oh. You just
know what?
Just go grab your shit. Just don't even say anything. Just start grabbing your shit and putting it in a backpack and walk out. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's. Yeah. Fuck. Like if she's cheating, oh my god, that's really embarrassing. And also kind of for her, I'm sure it validated her opinion because she's like, I'm with a bigger, stronger man, and this might, but it's like still dickish.
But I'm like, you should have some respect that he tried at least. He was like, I know I'm gonna lose this. I know it's already over, but like I'm gonna try. And he's like, no,
I'm gonna beat
the shit out of me. Drag me up out of my own house. Like
that's embarrassing. There was a guy that I went on a date with once. I met him it was a Halloween party at a bar. And my friend was friends with the bartender, and so I asked the bartender out, gave my number, but then he shows up to the date with a fucking black eye, and I was like, "What happened?" He's like, "Oh, got into a fight. We were trying to sequester this guy at the bar, and he got rowdy." I was like, "Oh my gosh, like whatever." And like, it was fine. Like I don't think we really hit it off a ton in actual person, so I didn't end up seeing him again. But my friend was like, "Oh, is that what he told you?" Nah, he got his ass knocked out cold.
Oh no.
He's like, "Yeah, we were trying to get this guy, and he was whatever, like we sequestered him." She's like, "No, there was a drunk guy who was crazy, but he like literally just went over there and got his ass knocked out in one punch. It was out cold, and the other guys pinned him down." Not that it's like, I mean, I'd probably get knocked out too. I'm just saying it's just funny to me. It's like, don't lie to me. I actually think it'd be funnier if a guy's like, "Yeah, no, I got my ass handed to me."
Sometimes you just have to honestly admit it. I have like this stupid theory, and it's one of those things I've just
subdue. Sorry, I kept saying sequester. I meant subdue.
Subdue, but like. To me, I think everybody, like at some point, at least men, should have some level of like ass kicking at some point in their lives. It doesn't necessarily always have to be physical. Like sometimes you could get embarrassed, but like everybody should at some point be put in their place. Because I've met people and have known people that really like it is very apparent they could not beat somebody's ass, but they're like chihuahuas and they don't know that because they've never been put in a place where they're like, hey, like. There are always a bigger dog. Like I'm fully aware, like I'm a big dude, but I'm very aware that like there are people that are half my size that could absolutely beat the shit out of me. So I just don't fuck around and find out. Like if I have to, that's where we're gonna go. But typically I don't want to do that because you don't know. But I know some people that just like they'll just try to fight, like try to start a fight with anybody, and I'm like, you just never know. Like you might run up on some small dude and he might be a world-class wrestler, fold you into a pretzel in front of your girlfriend and then take your drink. Like what are you gonna do then?
Oh my god, that reminds me of, I was just showing my friend Brian, my gay hood friend, I was showing him Juggernaut Bitch because he hadn't seen it.
Oh my god, yeah.
And the thing is, like, watching it, you can tell that it's like not like these are not like comedy people because like they keep repeating like, "I'm the Juggernaut, bitch. It's my fucking helmet." But every once in a while, there's like a gem. And one of my favorite lines is not one of the lines that everybody quotes. Like the Juggernaut, bitch. They say that a million times. My favorite line is, "I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna rape him. I'm gonna eat his fucking costume." And that line reminded me of that, where you're like, I'm gonna beat him up, I'm gonna fold him into a pretzel in front of his girlfriend, and then take his drink.
But this is my drink now. Yeah.
I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna rape him, I'm gonna eat his fucking costume.
That dub was so funny when it first came out too. Oh my god. But yeah, it was the Juggernaut bitch was funny, but it wasn't. Yeah, like you said, when it started repeating. My favorite part was when he threw the fucking like table at Professor Xavier. He's like, "Shut the fuck up, Charles. Beat your ass."
And like, there's like a lot of funny moments, but I'm just saying it's like you can tell that it's not like something that somebody wrote out. It's more like a bunch of friends just improvising. So obviously there's going to be a lot of repetition, but it was funny because of that. And you can tell every once in a while they start cracking up in the background. Like that's what made it fun too, is that it was just just friends having fun and being like, bitch, this is a Dodge,
Yeah.
Charles.
Yeah, Charles. It was
Charles.
like, silly bitch, don't you know who the fuck I am? Yeah.
But then it
that's
was
funny.
like when they put it into the X-Men movie, it was like the boomers, when like the
That
boomers
was
discover a joke or a word, the word's not cool
yeah.
anymore. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Or like
that was awful.
or it's Morbin time, like when Jared Leto like had the script for the we're like, nope,
I don't
joke's
know,
done.
the joke's dead now. Yeah. I actually have a funny story about X-Men 3 because I saw that in theaters. And this was before, like, obviously people were like, oh, whatever. A lot of people were hyped. I was excited to go see it. And the scene where fucking Charles, Professor X gets killed, like Phoenix or whatever, like, grabs him and she, like, lifts him up and then, like,
Just
vaporizes him.
nukes him into
Yeah. I was
oblivion.
sitting in the theater and it, like, goes dark because it's supposed to be quiet. And, like, I didn't even think about it. I was just really disappointed. I was like, well, that sucks. And everybody fucking laughed. Because I was like, this is the stupidest fucking thing ever. But I couldn't help it, and I didn't even think about the fact that, like, I just interrupted this moment that was supposed to be all deep. And I was like, that sucks.
Your black side was coming out.
Yeah, a little bit.
You forgot you weren't at home. You were in
I
a
was like,
theater.
oh shit, my bad, y'all. I don't normally be talking during movies. But like that,
well, that
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
Well, I would.
Yeah.
The play that I went to see with my friends before we went out to grab food was it was I don't know how to say it, like it was a black play, and so there's a lot of people in the audience, which was cool. A lot of people in the audience who might not normally come to see theater were there, and it was a really great play. It was by the people who wrote P Valley or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there were definitely moments that were not meant to be funny that you heard black people be like, "Damn." So sometimes we're laughing at the response, not at the moment.
Yeah. But like that, like a well-placed like reaction, sometimes it's hilarious. Yeah.
Wow. But that being said, I feel like I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna rape him, I'm gonna eat his fucking costume. For whatever reason, just feels like a good place to end it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just think you can't top that. Nothing I ever write will be better than that.
No.
It's all downhill from here.
I mean, the world's been downhill ever since then. So.
You're right, Mike. I should just end it. So I'm thank you. I'm gonna handle that. And you're just like, you basically just get arrested because you encouraged me the whole time. You're like, I keep telling Amanda to end it, and they didn't know you meant like the stream, and then you get arrested for me killing myself.
Yeah, you're like, that's what he told me to do it. Like,
he kept saying, "There's video evidence of hours of her cyberbullying Amanda, saying you just need to end it. Why won't she end it? She doesn't have the courage to end it."
And that's what she's gonna put in like the note. Is he encouraged me? If you watch the stream specifically, he multiple times so that they understand and they have like very specific evidence. Yeah.
Like in court. And then I'm already like, she clearly was depressed and mentally unstable. She's been wearing a veil for the past like 3 weeks, mourning her AI boyfriend.
Yeah, she keeps talking about this horse camp she went to. Yeah,
the horses were real. The camp was real. Stop trying to tell me otherwise.
I believe the horses were real.
You're patronizing me now.
No, not at all. I would never do that.
Yes, you laugh. You're like, I would never, sweetie. Never. Oh, oh yeah, the horses. Oh yeah, what were their names?
The horse camp. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That sounds really nice. Okay, take your meds now. Night night. Yeah. Well, do you have anything to say? Any last words?
Any last words before we end it? It's a mutual
before ending. I cut off your balls and then cut off my own. I cut off your balls and then cut off my own in like a murder-suicide.
Yeah. We just cut off each other's testicles. It was really, I don't know what to do about this.
We made a ball chopping pact.
I don't know what else to say. Like, yeah. Come back next week. Like I say every week.
I probably won't be here next week.
Well, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. You're chopping your balls off.
I'm getting my
this will be part of the war. Chopped off. Yeah. Now on principle, we can't have a stream next week because you're getting your balls
because I have to stick to it, and I'm very committed to my bits.
Yeah. This Thursday, D&D moved from Monday to Thursday. So if you guys are interested,
and you guys copied me. You copied me because I was doing like a daytime stream, and y'all were doing a nighttime stream. But then you're like, oh my gosh, Amanda's so cool. We should do a daytime stream too.
Basically, yeah. So that's what we're doing now. It's 1 p.m. Eastern time. Secrets of the Frost Maiden. Still on Geeks and Gamers Tabletop. Go check us out there. It's a good time, even though Amanda abandoned us. Had one of the best characters of the show. Her death is still being felt far and wide by the characters, but yeah, we've
No, it's not.
completely, yeah, it absolutely is. We have completely embraced our villain identities. And that's where we're living now, and our plan is to find the Frost Maiden and beat that bitch in the head with a rock. So there we go.
Wait, I'm sorry. You're gonna murder somebody
Yeah, the,
with a
the
rock?
main villain. Yeah, the main villain of the campaign. We've already decided we're just gonna hit her in the head with a rock very unceremoniously. There's not gonna be some big grandiose fight where she's throwing spells and shit. We're just gonna walk up to her with a rock and we're just gonna crack her upside the skull, and we're gonna curb stomp that bitch until she's dead. And it's gonna be a really sad, really like anticlimactic way to end the whole thing. So
I appreciate that somebody remembers me and my legacy, but you guys are just degenerates who bash people's head in with a skull now. Or not skull. You bash her skull in with a rock.
Yeah.
I like the idea of doing it with a skull, though. Like bashing a skull for a skull, and then it
Yeah.
just won't be very effective. And she'll just be like, ow.
Yeah, damn, that hurt.
That was creepy.
Yeah, no, it's even better. Like, yeah, that's the best way to end a campaign. Like, oh, finally, and the villain's giving her fucking speech, and like one of the heroes just walks up to her, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And just cracks her upside the head with a rock, and then everybody's like, "Oh my god!" It's like the hero just, yeah,
You guys are the worst, and
yeah, 100%.
I'm glad she didn't live to see this.
No, I wish she would have lived to see this. So
You like hold her eyes open as she watches everybody she believed in.
Bitch, we're
become...
villains now. Yeah. Also, my character had sex with Cord Black Garrett's character. So
really,
yeah,
I thought your character was gay.
Yeah, it's all murky waters.
It's a spectrum. You're one of those people.
Yeah.
God
damn it.
Anyway, okay, sorry. People are like messaging me now.
What do you have to plug? Yeah. What do you plug? Besides your butt.
I'm trying to think if there's anything. So basically, we're almost able to get monetized soon. I think we're like 400 hours away from the 4,000 we need. So if y'all want to go back and revisit any live streams or whatever, that all helps. Actually, I don't know if that's how that works. I assume that's how it works. Just watch stuff.
Just watch stuff.
Yeah. And trying to think, I bet you I'm going to forget something. But right now I can't think of anything. I'll be at a couple cons later this month. I'll be at GalaxyCon in Richmond, Virginia, March 20th. Oh, I guess it's not March yet, but it's almost March 24th to 26th. And then I'll be at Kauai Con in Hawaii or in the last weekend, whatever, March 31st through like April 2nd, something like that. So if you're in Hawaii or Virginia, come say hi and buy stuff for me.
Hi.
Yeah. Come, then clean yourself up, then come and say hi.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. I don't feel like turning music on, so.
Oh my God.